Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. We're going to continue a theme that was kind of discussed yesterday with regard to European origin. We kind of trickled upon that slope of logic yesterday, and it became interesting. So let's continue it. The question is, what does white mean? I don't mean that in a pejorative fashion. I'm just serious. What does that mean? And lastly, has Europe always been inhabited by Europeans? Right? So let's look at the first part of our question of the jour. What does white mean? Why am I asking that? I'm asking that because I stumbled on page 130 of Dirty Little Secrets by our dear brother, Dr. Claude Anderson. In Dirty Little Secrets, Claude Anderson says the following, and this essay is called They Were Less Than Pure. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Dr. Anderson says the state of Virginia, all set to enact racial integrity laws in the 1940s, received an emotional jolt when George S. Schuler, in his book Racial Intermarriages in the U.S., made public the results of his through investigations into the genealogies of high-level Virginia government official holders. His book announced sad news to many whites. Quote, Virginia was a very racially mixed state. Facts, that's true. My grandmother was from Virginia, and she was mixed up. Back to the quote, even among American Indians who this posed a little problem for the large amount of numbers of whites who publicly claim to be pure white or mixed with pure Indian blood. Schuler's research was more specific and indicated that about 45% of the nation's white population had some quantity of black blood in their veins. The black blood came in through black Indian ancestors. This black blood expose included most of the big money families, first or blue bloods of Virginia, who, after learning about the black blood in their veins, undoubtedly skipped many social T's. The Richmond News leader in Richmond, Virginia, further stirred up the pot by saying that amongst the living and dead, those who would be classified as blacks, if a racial integrity bill or one drop of blood law was enforced, it would be semicolon two United States senators, one United States ambassador to France, five army generals, two presidents of the United States, two secretaries of war, and two distinguished Southern novelists, three governors of Virginia, one Speaker of the House of Representatives, two bishops, two United States congressmen, one rear admiral, and two judges of Virginia Supreme Court, and many of the foremost officers of the Confederate Army. So, with that being said, Wani, what does white even mean?
I don't know. I think that they're just confused and they have tucked a bunch of European countries under the notion of being white and they don't really know all of the mixing. And they're basically judging it against us. Like they've created this to go against us. And we're a different group. Black does not mean the opposite of white. Black Americans are an ethnogenesis of several things, where white people are claiming themselves to be white as far as a bunch of European countries coming over here, hanging out together. That's not a race for them. That's not an ethnicity for them. They just made that up to contrast us. But I don't know what they think white is. I've actually asked white people if a black person looks white, are they white to you? And like surprisingly, they think yes. And it's like, how? If they have two black parents and they just happen to look white and can pass, how do you declare that person white? So a lot of them say that. So I don't think they know what white is. Or they'll say, no, uh, if you have any black, you have to kind of hide it from us. We'll kind of accept you if you look like that, but I don't even think they know what it is. Um,
I
but
like
it's very,
I like that you said
go ahead.
die. Oh, I interrupted you. Want to go ahead and finish your thought?
No, go ahead.
I like that you said diametric opposition because that's my thesis. That's what this is all about. It's in all these rules and maxims and edicts and laws. A lot of these laws are created in diametric opposition to blacks. So this, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but this seems like what Dr. Welsing is saying is true. Is that we're in some type of um, different type of war ground or something? Like, is it? It's all about what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that from my studies, I concluded that the term white didn't exist pre Columbus colonialism towards the, and I'm gonna gag a little bit for saying I have to say the New World. I hate that term because it's not true, but the whole ideology of creating this United States of America and this new world, I gagged again, forgive me, was made because Europeans wanted their chance at being royalty. That was the whole name of the game. Now, this royalty that they sought was framed based upon English or European monarchy system. And monarchy, as you're about to see in the Jumbotron, was predicated off of royal blood. So you couldn't fake the funk, if you will. You either had royal blood or you didn't. Now, if you look at the second tier, which is where Europeans wanted to be, um, you couldn't have but one king and queen. That's out of the question. But they wanted to be dukes, lords, ladies, thanes, earls, um, high-ranking religious figures. They wanted their place in the nobility. Well, um, the deal was if you come to the New World, I said it again. Um, we will create a system where just being white or in the class which is created which is proclaimed to be white, you will have social dominance over others. So this is all about royalism is what it is. So if you look further into studies, one of which y'all are gonna hate me for saying this, but um what's the guy's name? Everybody says he's a traitor, but he wrote one good book. His name just escaped my head. What is it? What's the guy that the suspected white supremacists quote a lot? He's black. He's a PhD and he's an economist. I forgot his name. He wrote Ethnic America, which is a good book. It's good, but a lot of the rest of his books are kissing butt, if you will. I'm gonna think of his name in a minute, but uh, it is proven that certain groups earn their way into quote unquote white.
Thomas Sowell.
So I couldn't
Thomas
think of
Sowell.
I couldn't think his name to save my life. But yes,
Yeah.
Thomas, very good, Nikki. Thank you. Thomas Sowell. It's a book called Ethnic America that is, in my views, his saving grace. I don't know if he wrote this book and then got attacked by the system of white supremacy and then turned his allegiance. I don't know, but Ethnic America is good. He's telling the truth about the Irish and the Italians, how when they got over here, they weren't white. They earned their way into white. And now we have this battle that our brother Tariq Nasheed was talking about the other night, where other groups are like, no, 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 no. I want to be white. I want to be white. And they've been denied it by the system. The last thing I'm going to say is Dr. Howard Zinn identified what this is all about in his masterpiece, A People's History of the United States, on page 177, where Dr. Uh, uh, Zen says, quote, second paragraph, the need for slave control led to an ingenious device, paying poor whites, themselves so troublesome for 200 years of Southern history, to be overseers of the black labor and therefore black buffers to black hatred. Why did that come about? That came about because blacks, foundational black Americans rather, started bucking against the system. You have people like Gabriel Prosser saying, fuck this, I'm a slave, I might as well die anyway. In 1800, ladies and gentlemen, we were enslaved, but Gabriel Prosser said, fuck this, and start organizing a revolt. A turncoat, enslaved black, turned on him and snitched and got his butter biscuits and had Gabriel Prosser killed. That revolution never happened. Right after Gabriel Prosser, you had Denmark Vesey. did the same thing. He was a little bit more quiet with it, but somebody in Denmark's inner circle felt the need to snitch on him under the law, um, the called meritorious manumission. And the same thing happened to Denmark. They killed him and made a spectacle out of him and rewarded the snitch. Last but not least, a very intelligent, not saying that Gabriel and Denmark weren't, they obviously were very brilliant, but Nat Turner moved a little bit quieter. And Nat Turner was kind of light skinned, you got it? So he could kind of dibble and dabble into, the house Negro mantra. Nat Turner staged a rebellion that was successful. Now, history says he killed 50 people. I don't buy it. I think he killed hundreds of European slave owners. But Nat Turner's rebellion was successful. Um, After Nat Turner's rebellion, they hung him, they cut him up, they put him in tonics and start eating them and drinking them. I'm talking about European white people was eating his flesh. Well, in 1859, John Brown, a white man, said that he had a dream from God that told him that slavery was wrong. And John Brown, a white man, and his sons staged a rebellion against slavery. And when John Brown was being hanged, he spoke a curse upon white society in America. And I forget, the story's so beautiful. I'm gonna get it wrong. Y'all forgive me for this, but it was what's that song? Dun, 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 the coming of the Lord. He was singing that as they killed him. And you know what? Before they killed John Brown, he said, "You're killing me and my sons, but scores of you are gonna die for this. I curse you." And guess who started marching to the South singing that same song? The Union Army. And John Brown, his curse was correct. Scores of men died for that Civil War, which some people was issued as a curse by John Brown. That's what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at diametric opposition, and every time that foundational Black Americans say, "I had enough," and start rising up, a new group is admitted into whiteness.
Now, I don't think anybody else is going to be able to be white. I think all the white people have been admitted already and the door is closed because we had three people. Did I miss somebody? It seems like I missed someone. Arabs wanted to be white, Latinos wanted to be white, and Asians wanted to be white. And that includes Native Americans because they're Asians. Now, what happened with Arabs? Okay, they tried to be white. They tried to pretend like they were a satellite of Europe. They tried to be hospitable to Europeans. They had little French areas in Morocco, and uh, you know, even if you speak about the Turkish people, I should put them on the list. Turkish people let Istanbul be European when it's not. You get over there, they're not European at all. I don't know what they're doing. They're very confused. So these people have tried to be white. And what happened with the Arabs, the reason they failed at being white is because they complained about being treated badly because of their religion. And they complained about some racial aspects of them being discriminated against. Uh, Asians are simply not white enough looking, and they don't have any part of them, like it's not a range where some people look more like this. They basically all look Asian, and we're speaking about East Asians specifically, and they have a look, and that look is not white, so they physically are not able to be white, similar to Black Americans. We're not able to be white. That we're the opposite of white, so there would be no point in being white if a Black person was allowed to pretend to be white. So people that have a lot of money that think they're going to pretend to be white, or they're going to be, no, you, that's the whole, that would ruin the whole point of being white. The whole point of being white is to say you're not Black. You're not those other guys. So if they allow any kind of Black person that's wealthy to pretend to be white, they're messing up the whole point of them being white. So Latinos They range in colors and they don't have certain features. Some of them could look white, but they collectively failed at being white because they also complained. You see, one of the things about being white is you can't complain. So you can't go to the Academy Awards or the Grammys and say, how come a Latino didn't win? Or how come this didn't happen? You can be happy that an Italian won, but you can't bitch and moan when an Irish person wins something. You see, you can go, oh, pumping your fist when the Greek, with that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, you saw all this Greek ethnicity pop out of nowhere. All of a sudden, they're pumping their fists. Hey, Greek power. But they don't do that normally. They shut the hell up. They don't want to be noticed. They don't complain. Greek people don't complain that English people got an award or that an English person got a job or that anything. They don't even say, "Oh, they're discriminating against me because I'm ethnic looking." They don't really say anything, and that's why they're white. That's why they got white status. But the rest of these people, they complain about their treatment. And so, because of that, they will never be white. And that's why Arabs are now identified as MENA on the census. And that's why a lot of Asians are breaking up and becoming like Samoan people don't want to be Asian. So they're broken up. They're not, these people know they can't be white. So that's, we know what is not white. But do we know what white is? Because they have a whole bunch of these people in Europe. Europe isn't even a continent. It's just a peninsula hanging off of Eurasia. So they have a hell of a lot of Asian ancestry that they don't like to admit to. That's why they were calling themselves Caucasian. But they literally don't know their own background because they're not Caucasian. Why would they just pick that one area? That's not even the main area they're from. They don't know where they're from. They don't know who they're related to. They're gobsmacked when they see a Chinese face on a Russian person. They're like, "Oh, that's a Chinese person." They don't even know what a Russian looks like because they're so confused. They don't realize you have a whole bunch of Siberian ancestry. That's why the guy looks Chinese over there. That's why some of those Russians look Chinese. That's why some Russian models come over with high cheekbones. Where do you think those come from? But they're not smart enough and they're delusional. They don't want to admit that they were running across the Caspian steppe right next to the Mongolian steppe and mixing and fighting and stealing each other's women. So that's why they are extremely mixed and they like to like kind of sequester themselves away in these countries and then pretend to be pure German. Oh, I'm pure German. And when you were talking about royal blood, that there's no such thing. That's not, they just made that up. They just went to the woods and slapped each other upside the head and said, I'm the king now. That's the royal blood. Pimp slapping, jousting each other. There is no royal blood. They just made that up. And then they kept each other away and kept marrying into each other very tightly and not letting other people in until they got a bunch of uh, inbreeding problems. So that's the royal blood. And that's what white is.
Well, I like that you said that because it is about it's royalism. When the Irish, if you look at a picture of anybody from Ireland, I'm not going to pretend to be the arbiter of race and anthropology, but you can't really tell a difference, right? Irish people look, like the poster board of what people would call white. But apparently, according to Dr. Howard Zinn, in 1844, Irish people were not white, right? When they came to the United States, Dr. Howard Zinn says, quote, the immigrants from Ireland fleeing starvation there when the potato crop failed were coming to America now packed into old sailing ships. These stories of sailing ships differ only in detail of the accounts of the ships that earlier brought black slaves and later German, Italian, and Russian immigrants. This is a contemporary account of one of the ships arriving from Ireland detained at Gross Island on the Canadian border. On 18th of May 1847, the Urania from Cork with several hundred immigrants on board, a large portion of them sick and dying of ship fever, were put in quarantine on Gross Island. This was the first plague-smitten ships from Ireland, which that year sailed up the St. Lawrence. Before the week of June, as many as 84 ships of the various tonnage were driven in by easterly wind, and out of that enormous number of vessels, there was not one free from malignant typhus, the offspring of famine, and the foul ship hold, a tolerably quick passage occupied from 6 to 8 weeks. That don't sound like white to me, right? But here goes the magic, ladies and gentlemen. This is that transformation. Listen closely. On page 227, Dr. Howard Zinn says, how could these new Irish immigrants, themselves poor and despised, become sympathizers with the black slave who is becoming more and more the center of attention, the subject of agitation in the country? He says racist hostility became an easy substitute for class frustration. What did Dr. Zinn say? Basically, in not so many words, Dr. Zinn says to earn their way into whiteness, um, they had to show disdain, disrespect, and hatred towards who? Towards us. So, Wani, is that the litmus test? You got to be.
Mhm.
Tell us more about that.
That is one of the tests. And we have had a lot of ethnic bigotry from Indians and from Native Americans, East Indians, I meant to say. We've had it from Arabs, nasty disdain in these stores that I would never go into. We've had a lot of hatred towards Chinese people, but you have to do a little bit more than that to be white. Just hating on Black Americans or hating people because they're brown skin, that isn't good enough to make you white. That's not good enough. You know, you have to have a certain look. Um, you have to never complain and just take the beat down and be put down and have them to make fun of your eyes being slanted, and you can't complain about those things. They can say things against your religion. They can make fun of your big ass nose, all of that, and you have to take it. And some of the groups in the world are borderline, like they're borderline, possibly could pass for white. We were discussing, you said something about a Lebanese person, and I saw another Lebanese person. Now they're also confused because they feel like the reason they're not white is because they're not Christian. See, they think this has something to do with Christian. They have put an ethnicity on religion. So because Judaism is an ethnicity, and that shows up as a haplogroup, um, is a haplotype. You can see that people are Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and or whether they have that priestly line. But you can't, that's not how Christians work. Christians, you can't look at my DNA. Oh, I can see she's Christian. That isn't the same thing. You can't look at an Arab's DNA. Oh, I can see he's Muslim. It's not in there like that. So they're confused, and they think that if they change religions, that now they can be white. So we have a few Arab types that tried it and failed because they get called out. Even though they're Christian, they're still not white. And we also have Turkic people who are also not white, but they kind of can look white sometimes. And they have literally asked me, if I come to America and I'm a Christian, can I be white? Like, imagine asking a black girl if you have permission to be white in America. Who do they think I am? Am I customer service for being white? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
we have some borderline people trying it.
yeah, Professor or Dr. James Cone, America's greatest theologian, he died several years ago. A black man, devout Christian minister and PhD, wrote a book that's worth getting if y'all can find it called The Cross in the Lynching Tree. And in that book, he made the argument so clear. He said, if Christianity was not racialized, why is there a such thing as the black church? Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in that church, in the Baptist church. We never referred to ourselves as the black church. The white Christian American Christian power structure referred to us as the black church. So the James Cone, Dr. Cone's point was, if it was all about, Christianity and all about just, salvation, why was it a need to identify a church as being black, thereby creating a separation, a fracture, a fissure between blacks and whites when they go to worship God? Furthermore, Dr. James Cone let us know that Sunday is the most segregated day of the week because whites go their way and we go our way to worship God. So the question is it the same God? I'm going to leave that on a question.
Well, one of the things is their church, they were holding KKK meetings. So that's a good reason to not share the same church. No, I don't know what they're worshiping, to be honest. It doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what they think they were doing. We're not animals, and they know we're not animals. In fact, they said that, there's no point of us becoming Christian because the whole point of making people Christian was so they wouldn't be savages. So what's the point of us being Christian if we were still going to be perceived as savages that could not be humanized? So all this going to church, in their mind, we're still considered animals. And they were still having meetings on how to lynch us. So there's no point. Us
Yeah,
trying to please them, going to church trying to please them, is not a good idea.
I hear that more and more, that the Klan meetings were held at the white Christian church.
We
Maybe
have
that,
a picture of it.
wow, maybe
Yeah,
that's
she
the,
recently, yeah, we recently posted a picture of it, didn't you, Wani? There was a,
Yes, I did.
yeah, the audience was sitting there looking up at the stage at the pulpit, and there were people with their clan uniforms on.
Juan, if you can find that picture, put it in the jumbotron because I missed that one. I believe it because I've read it several times, but that's got my light bulbs are flashing. That makes me think that maybe that's why the churches are segregated. Is they don't want us to know what's going on. Maybe that's a place to plan.
Now, have noticed that one of the things about the Abrahamic religions is that Africans did not put an ethnic brand on them. Yes, these religions were created in what you would call an African set of ideologies, older than the Bible. They came out of it. That's why the Ethiopians have all those holy books, and they're storing that. What's that? The Ark of the Covenant. They're storing one of those
Yeah,
things.
that's right.
Okay, so they did not push these religions. So the reason that Christianity is white is because they did all the work. They ethnically branded it. So they
Wow.
plastered their white face on it and they pushed it in their lands. So it's associated with them, and it can't be unassociated with them because they did all the work to push it and talk about it and put it into a framework that makes you think when you close your eyes and you think about it. Noah's white, Moses is white. All these people are white, seared in your brain, and you have to fight it. You have to fight it and say, wait a minute, they couldn't be white. They're not white now. That area is not white. Okay? And it hadn't been invaded by Arabs, so it could not be white. So technically speaking, the keepers of the Kaaba, if you look at how they look back in the 1800s, they look black. Okay? They were black. But that's the tribe of the Prophet Muhammad. So his tribe looked like a bunch of black guys, and they were the keepers of the Kaaba. Today, the keepers of the Kaaba look extremely white. I guess they just took a lot of very fair wives or white women because these guys don't even look Arab anymore. They look white. So they've been trying to whiten themselves up. Why? I don't know. But these religions are not um, non-African. They are African concepts. However, the Arabs did so much to push Islam. They pushed it by the sword. They were traitors. They rubbed up against everybody. They made everything they touched turn to Muslim. And they've been very successful. So now their Arab face, is associated with Islam. And everybody practicing uh, Islam is a guest in that religion. They're guests. You have to speak Arabic. They did all the work. They can't post pictures of what the prophet looks like. And the reason they probably don't like pictures is because if they post a picture of the keepers of the Kaaba in the 1800s, that person would be black. So that's probably why they don't want to post any pictures of the prophet or his family, because they're not going to be white like they want them to be. And I heard an Arab person say, an African cannot be a Muslim. It's an ethnically branded religion. So that's what, it's not true, but that's what they feel. And I don't want to be a guest in their religion. And I don't want to be a guest in Christianity. And I don't want to be a guest in Buddhism, because these people have plastered their face on it and their way of doing things, which is hypocritical. And I don't want to be a part of it. That's why we feel like guests in these religions that we've adopted.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please share out the room. We're gonna get deep tonight. Share out the room if you don't mind. Well, when Wani was speaking, she got me to thinking about Christianity. Um, where do I start? In the jumbotron, you'll see a saint. His name is Saint Augustine. And if anybody in here has ever, been in the Catholic faith or traveled the world, you look, if y'all go ahead and Google Saint Augustine, you're gonna see a white man's face. Well, this is one of the original pictures, restored pictures of Saint Augustine. Saint Augustine was very black. And listen to this shit, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. And at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, um, long story short, there was an emperor. It wasn't Caligula. I forget what emperor it was, but it was a Roman. It doesn't matter. It was a Roman emperor that, Constantine, um, one, killed the Arabs, and he came victorious. And Constantine had a dream that his dream was you will conquer in the symbol of the cross, the crucifix, and he did. And rumor has it that but Constantine was having an issue when he was battling the Arabs, because they had a religious ideology. They were Muslim, and they didn't mind dying because they believed that they died. And y'all, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an Islamic scholar, but I, if they believed that they died, they were promised something. I think 72 virgin.
72 virgin camels. I just added the camels on.
Oh Lord. Well, let's just say they were promised something. So they were very happy to die for their commanders. And Constantine's men freaked out. They were like, sir, how can we fight these people when they want to die? And Constantine came up with the start looking for an ideology that where he could teach his men to fight. And he discovered it wasn't called Christianity. Matter of fact, the word Christ is kind of a misnomer. It's Charist. Charis means the bringer of gifts, which is the same as Christ. It's just kind of like spelled, how spelling goes, it gets changed over time. Well, Constantine's men were victorious. And Constantine, when they came back to Rome, the religion spread. And the Roman emperor, his name's escaping me. I'm having one of those mental days today, but he was at the Colosseum watching the fight, watching the barbarians fight. At the Colosseum watching the gladiators. I said barbarians. I used the wrong word. Gladiators fight, and he saw his uncle there, willing to die in the name of Christianity. And the Roman emperor said, I want to say Caligula. Please, somebody correct me if it's Caligula, Nero. I forgot which one it was. But he stood up, and they were like, "You want to stop the fight?" And he was like, "No, my uncle's an idiot anyway. He's a drunk and a loser. Let him die." So he let his uncle die. Well, the next time he was at the Colosseum watching the gladiators fight, he saw his wife and child out there willing to die for Christianity, and he said, "Stop the fight. Stop it." He stopped the Colosseum. He stopped it, and he went. into a military briefing to find out what is this religion and what's going on. Once they figured out what it was, they decided to come up with a way to control it. So they had the Council of Nicaea. I'll put in a jumbotron in a moment. Of 325 AD. The Council of Nicaea had generals and religious figures and scholars sitting around trying to decide on what Christianity is and how could it be useful to the Roman Empire. And the black man I put up there, Saint Augustine, was one of the most tenured and respected scholars on religion and spirituality in all of Rome. And Saint, I almost said Count Augustine. I guess that would be more appropriate. Saint Augustine, when they told him about Christianity, the rumor has it he started. Well, not rumor. History reports him to laugh. He started laughing. He said, these people entertain me. They give me a religion we had 3,000 years ago." So what Wani was saying is true. At Council of Nicaea 325 AD, Christianity was rebranded and kind of whitewashed, which is kind of what James Cone was talking about thousands of years later. Very interesting to dive into this subject and very kind of dangerous, really. Onyx, what's on your mind?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to the weaponizing, as far as the whole religion angle, we have to understand. At the end of the day, we're dealing with people, and a lot of the stuff that we see when it comes to down as far as using that whole avenue. Muslims, I'll put it like this: Arabs, they weaponize Islam, and uh, white people, they weaponize Christianity, basically as flagships. I mean, me myself, I'm a Christian. It's hard to, I'm not akin to these people who are out here. I'm talking about theologically. What I'm saying, where I stand. I don't believe that Christ is white. When you consider the region, when you consider, where it is. I just don't believe that anymore, simply because it doesn't match up. I don't believe that the story is false. I just believe the people who presented it to us basically put their faces in there. It's kind of like knocking the nose off an Egyptian statue. They kind of took these things and made it their own. And what they did was they basically weaponized it. They put it in such a way to where they could control people. So it's like whenever you become a Muslim, they start changing their last name. I always thought that was strange. Like, that's very akin to, when it came to over here, you have to change your last name to the slave master's last name. I don't see a distinction between that. And also, when it comes to white society, as far as those who deal along the white supremacist lines, what they did, and this is something I've come to realize, because they do this with everything. I don't care what avenue you go to, they have a way of stamping their face on the front of it. They are very fork tongued. They'll tell you one thing and then do the direct opposite. So while you're walking down the road of what they said, hey man, this is the way to be, they'll do the direct opposite in order to undercut you. So I think there's actually I'm not sure, it was some book, Melchizedek book, where it talks about them putting their images up there. And I'm just wondering about this. I think that truthfully, these people, it's really the people themselves. They are something else.
Yeah, that's a good point. And now, earlier I said Caligula and Nero. I was wrong. I was forgetting the name because I said the name. It was Constantine. He made emperor after he won the spoils of war. And Constantine, kind of followed according to Britannica. He was the one that stopped the fight. That doesn't sound right to me, though.
No, no, somebody talk about all these black images we see across the world, Jesus and Mary, and how they're black. And when I question white people, they say, oh, that's just the smoke from the candle burning.
Wow.
Okay, it's called the Black Madonna, and they just named it that because of soot. Got it.
That is a human device called what's going on with my mind today? What's that called? A cognitive dissonance. And black people, if y'all are going back to grad school for your PhD, or you got a nephew, niece, or daughters, we need to study cognitive dissonance, because that is one of the biggest problems that affects foundational Black Americans. The truth is right in front of you. The truth is on recording. It's like that young man, that child who's being charged with first degree murder right now for clear cut self defense. I mean, that fact pattern, if you put that in a first year law student's on his exam, that's an easy A. Clear cut self defense, affirmative defense. Gentleman approached him. He was outnumbered. He was cornered. He feared for his life. You know, that's from what I was taught, in my pro se opinion, that's self defense, clear cut. Well, look at the cognitive dissonance involved with that. The dominant society refuses to see it as self defense because of cognitive dissonance. Surely a black man could never just defend himself. No, that's not possible. The cognitive dissonance is dangerous. What are your thoughts, Fire Nagy?
I want to say, were you referring to Emperor Justine?
I get hazy on that. It's in Britannica says it was Constantine. But Justinian sounds right. It says
Yeah.
Constantine won. That's what it says.
Okay. And I think you were talking about earlier the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Glory to the Republic. When you were talking about Nat
Yeah,
Turner, Battle Hymn of the Republic.
yep, yep. John Brown sang that shit when they were hanging him, and he
Yeah.
said, Curse on all of you." He said, "You killed my boys. I'm gonna kill thousands of your boys. Thousands of your boys will die for this." And right after he got hung and died, the fucking Civil War kicked off, and thousands of thousands of young men died for that shit. So he was right.
Real quick, I think the issue with the Carmelo Anthony is it seems like white people just kind of want to get a win against us. They just seem like they just are desperate to like get us in something. You know what I mean? Like they have to feel like they one upped us, or they beat us. This seems more like a competition than an actual race for justice. That's what it seems like to me. You know, they feel like, well, we got the Hispanics on the run, we got the immigrants on the run. Okay, now we could just put black people, in their places so we can feel a little bit more comfortable. Because I'm with you on that, and I've heard people recite Judge Joe Brown, and he talked about proportionality. I'm like, that's BS. I mean, if I jump on Wani and she stabs me, I mean, how is she supposed to know what force is needed to repel me as an aggressor? And I just think that's a bad legal argument that you
Now,
have to
what
be.
did Judge Joe Brown do? What did he say? Because I didn't get the full thing.
I guess when he was one guy was paraphrasing it in one of Tariq's spaces, and he talked about proportionality. I was listening to the videos. I kind of listen to the videos when I'm working, and I'm like, proportionality is a garbage argument because how does somebody know what force is required to repel an aggressor? And I look at what the kid did afterwards. He stabbed him, which means he was probably flailing at him, and then he fled later on after. So he didn't even see. He probably didn't even see what he did. He's probably just in a desperate
Like,
attempt
get
to get.
away from me, get away from me, and he ran. Right.
Exactly. So I'm like, that doesn't look like he was. Um, that he was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. It looked like he was afraid, and there was two of you guys. You aggressively approached him, and like I said, in the state of Kansas, you can't do that. Like there was a guy, he owned a pretty well-to-do tile company called Jericho. No, it was called Jericho Homes, and he was caught in the inner city buying drugs or whatever. He was a rich white guy, and he did something, and it was rule self-defense, and all the white people were in an uproar. You didn't hear the national media because the police just quickly ruled like it's self-defense. Like if you're the aggressor, if you're grabbing or attacking the person, that person has a right to defense, and proportionality goes out the window because that person doesn't know how strong you are, how much force might be required. That person sees you as a threat. They're just trying to end the threat and get away. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Professor. I don't. I feel this is my gut feeling is that white folks really want to get one on us. You know what I mean? They really want to get a win on us. They really want to feel like, yeah, we got them in something. We put them in there because they can't get us with the immigration thing. We haven't been phased yet. I think they really want to just do that because I saw the girl Sarah Fields when she thought they took down the Go Sit and Go the campaign. And she's like, yeah, I got it taken down. And they come to find out it didn't get taken down. She's like, this is not fair. And I'm like, y'all are really desperate to get a win against us, ain't y'all? And I don't see this as much as like is they're pursuing of justice as much as they're just trying to beat black people. And I kind of feel like that is the the common theme I'm seeing over the last however long. everybody wants to get us in something. With that, I yield the floor.
Yeah, and what Fire Nagy said proves a thesis, that the thesis earlier, and I'm not going to take credit for it. Our dear esteemed scholar Dr. Claude Anderson brought up. He said white I'm paraphrasing, but he said white was created in diametric opposition to blacks. Dr. Amos Wilson said a similar sentiment later on, but that would prove it. Like, why are you persecuting this child who was fearing for his life? Why are you making this about something that it's not? Well, like Fire Nagy said, it's a need to get a win. A win against
Yes.
what? Against
What I
black.
what I've really felt they were doing is that this is a glaring double standard. They know good and damn well that that's self-defense, right? And if they get a win, that will say that they can just do more. I'm white and I say so, and just keep getting away with it because they know this is really a self-defense case, and the white boy just died, and he should have died because he shouldn't have been bullying. See, I just think that that's really what the issue is. It shows the glaring double standard in their hypocritical positions, and they have a completely different view. It just exposes them as racist because they did not have that view when these other people were running around murdering people that weren't even talking to them or touching them or going after them. They were the aggressors. They got away with murdering people and then claimed they were defending themselves. And they were the aggressors. Hello?
I'm up here talking to myself. I had to mute. But I want to say, Wani, we're looking at something big. You're right, but we're looking at something bigger than that. We're looking at a crusade. Looking back to one of my favorite tacticians and historians, strategists and psychologists galore, Robert Greene, on page 79 of his masterpiece, The 33 Strategies of War. Black Americans, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at strategy number 7. Transform your war into a crusade. Moral strategies. If you read silently while I read aloud, you'll discover the secret to motivating people and maintaining their morale is to get them to think less about themselves and more about the group. Involve them into a cause, a crusade against a hated enemy. Class, who's the hated enemy? Blacks. Make them see their survival as tied to the success of the army as a whole. That's what Dr. Welsing was saying. Quote, in a group which people have truly bonded, moods and emotions are so contagious that it becomes easy to infect your troop with enthusiasm. Lead from the front. Let your soldiers see you in the trenches making sacrifices for the cause. That will fill them with the desire to emulate and please you. Make both rewards and punishments rare but meaningful. Remember, a motivated army can work wonders, making up for any lack of material resource. Ain't that what Dr. Howard just said? He said the need. What did he say about the Irish? Hold on, I gotta find it again just because it's the timing on that. Hold on one second. He said racial hostility. There it is. Dr. Howard Zinn says, how could Irish immigrants themselves, poor and despised, become sympathetic with blacks? And he said, racist hostility became an easy substitute for class frustration. When the Irish came over here starving and poor and filthy, rule number 7, bring them in and give them a crusade. Hey, don't worry about being hungry and filthy, and don't worry about the fact that you left your grandmama, your children, and whoever else in Ireland to die. Focus on the blacks. And if you focus on the blacks, I'm going to make you the police. We're looking at warfare, ladies and gentlemen. Um, uh, Dick Gregory said, we the only ones, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, black people are the only ones that don't know we're at war. Everybody else gets it.
And they keep trying to pivot and make us immigrants so they can just have one target. You see, if we can just say, oh, we hate immigrants. Oh, you're immigrants too. No, we're not. And we don't care if people get deported. That's another little angle they've been trying to do, pivot, and the Democrats are at the head of trying to make us pivot, which is sick.
Yeah, it's all related. Dr. Claude Anderson identifies the Democratic Party as a party of immigrants. No cap. And I'm not going to say that without backing it up. Dr. Claude Anderson says that Woodrow Wilson, I'm paraphrasing him until I find the actual quote, but he said that, oh, there it is. Woodrow Wilson deceived voters. Check this out. Page 143 of Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson. He says Woodrow Wilson needed the black vote. Stop right there. They need us. Black Americans, you better know that people fucking need us. And something deep, this ain't no scholarly shit. This some hood shit. I think that people hate the fact that they need us. That's just what I think. Can't back that up with a quote. It's just a feeling. But back to Claude Anderson, he said Woodrow Wilson needed the black vote to win the presidential election in 1912. In a formal statement with blacks, he says, Wilson said, I wish to see justice done for the colored people in every manner, not mere grudging justice, but justice with liberality and cordial good feelings. What the fuck does that mean? Nothing. That's a 1912 version of if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. But anyway, Dr. Anderson says after Wilson won the election, Congress drafted and sent to the president for his approval the greatest flood of new laws that discriminated against blacks that had ever been introduced by the United States Congress. The proposed laws advocated segregation in public carriers and hotels and workplaces, the total exclusion of blacks from the military and federal jobs. President Wilson thumbed his nose at black people in approval of all those proposed laws that propelled black people backwards. He was supporting Irish immigrants to attack us. So, in with that respect, yes, Woodrow Wilson being a Democrat, with black when black people back when foundational Black Americans were identified with Republicans, but we've never really been part of a political party for real. Um, that's where like kind of like the gaslighting began that the Democratic Party was for us, when according to Dr. Claude Anderson, it wasn't. It was for immigrants, thereby against us because black Americans are non-immigrants. We've never been an immigrant. Matter of fact, some people, including myself, argue that we're the only group that's indigenous to the United States of America because we were amalgamated, thereby created here. This is home, ladies and gentlemen. Home, sweet home. Deal with it.
And who else can say that? Because the other group that's called Native Americans literally has DNA that says they come from Siberia across the Bering Strait, and they share languages with people on the Bering Strait. So, yeah, they're not Americans either.
No cap. So, next question. Has Europe always been inhabited by Europeans? Well,
Nope.
she beat me to it. To answer that question, I'm breaking out J.A. Rogers on that ass. Um, J.A. Rogers says, I don't know where it is. Well, he says a bunch of things, but he says, number 16 on page 12, Negroes lived in America thousands of years before Columbus. Central American monuments show numerous carvings of them as gods. When Columbus came to the New World, Negroes had been crossing from Africa to South America, a distance of 1,600 miles. The first white men to reach the American mainland tell of seeing Negroes. Now that's in America, but in Europe, and I'm just gonna take me a minute to find it. We'll go to housing until I find it. But J.A. Rogers argues that the Grimaldi people, maybe Wani could jump in on this. The Grimaldi people were the first group of people in Europe, and they were jet black.
Well, they were supposed to be the Khoisan. People that did Reconstruction said that they were of African descent and Negroes, specifically the Khoisan. Okay, so this is something that is very difficult for most people to understand, that when they find something, like I think they found a flute in Slovenia or Slovakia. I get those confused. They're similar. And They said, "Oh, look at this flute. It's this much, it's this much years old. It's old." And blah 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 blah. They want you to believe that some white guy over there with blonde hair and blue eyes carved a flute. They didn't exist. They couldn't have carved the flute. It couldn't have been anyone white. It's impossible. They didn't have that hair color mutation. They didn't have that skin color mutation. They didn't even have straight hair. So everybody running around at a certain time doing these things, carving these random instruments, these archaeological finds, these fossils we see, foods that they were eating, and yes, living in caves. So we can't say anything about white people living in caves because everybody lived in caves. If you think about it, there's a good reason to do that. Would you rather have a teepee and a buffalo knocking it over, or would you rather live in a cave with solid walls and ceiling? So when you think about it, a cave can be fortified. And a lot of people not only lived in caves, but if they didn't live in a cave, they were still using the cave. So they were using the cave like a garage. Like, we're going to go over here and do our, religious stuff in the cave. So they were using these things. They weren't playing. And anyway,
It
That's
must have
terrible.
stunk, and I wonder what I don't know. I'm always talking about smells, but isn't that why they smelled so bad all the time? Because they were in those caves.
they have, every time I go somewhere, hey, you want to go in the cave? No, because there's bats in there and other stuff that they tell you about it once you're in the cave. And no, I'm not falling for that anymore. There's always some weird thing hanging off the top of it.
Now that was a pretty terrible picture that I took just a minute ago, but I wanted to share it for y'all, for you can use for your purposes. Um, rule number, I mean, under the arts, J. Rogers' books are written kind of strange, but he doesn't have paragraphs per se. He has points, kind of like the Bible. But up under ancient civilizations, number 10, J. Rogers says, quote, the Grimaldi, a Negro race, lived in Europe as late as 12,000 years ago. Two complete Grimaldi skeletons are in the Museum of Monaco near Monte Carlo. The abundant traces of their culture have been unearthed in southern and central Europe. So the first people in Europe were Grimaldi. You know what? I've wondered, Wani, and don't attack me too hard. I'm not an anthropologist. I don't know how this works. But what's the possibility? Just entertain this for a minute. What's the possibility that when the young Dryas hit and Europe was the younger Dryas, excuse me, hit the ice age, for the rest of you that didn't know what that means. But when the ice age hit and Europe was plunged into this freezing cold, barren wasteland, what's the possibility that the Grimaldi evolved into Europeans? Is that possible?
No, I don't think they did. They were in Southern Europe and they were, some of the people or the remnants of what others that came later found. So the Grimaldi is very interesting because we have their skulls. Okay. You can't get away from that. It's a skull. We know what they look like, we know what their race is. So here's what the problem is: when you have a skull like that, then the white boy scientists will say, we can't determine the race of the person by the
You
skull.
can though.
And then we
Yeah,
say,
if I
well,
see a
wait a
fucking big ass
minute.
nigger nigger head, I can definitely fucking.
Hey, I'm ignoring what that dude said. I'm gonna put him down like a child. Hey, you
Now,
sit and listen. Just ignore what he said because I don't understand whatever language he's speaking.
uh, okay. So
And he
basically,
ran out of here.
what is what is forensics doing every day globally when they find a skull? The first thing that they do is they say this person is from this background, and then they, narrow it down. So say they find a skull, they'll say this is an Asian skull. And then they start to look, is there an Asian woman missing? Is there a Pacific Islander missing? Is there a Native American missing? Is there somebody with this skull? Because they can have all the identities they want, but their skull is telling on them all the time. And then they'll say, yeah, there's a Native American woman missing. Well, let's zoom in and see if it's her. Or, yeah, maybe there's a Chinese woman that's missing. Then they'll start zooming in and trying to see if that skull fits her face. So they most definitely can. But they'll say something like, we can't use current racial um, measurements on these older skulls. That's a lie. And not only did they reconstruct that skull, but they narrowed it down to the literal tribe of where it came from. And then they made that guy back up on the information. So that's how corrupt they are. They also have had a lot of archaeological fraud. That's why I can't really work in that field because it's very political. They had Peking Man, which was a fraudulent. Um, and they had Piltdown Man, which was saying that the white boy was the center of the universe and everybody came from him and everybody is, defective. The European is the last thing that fell out of Eurasia, and it's not the center of anything. It's not the beginning of anything. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything. It's just a knockoff of Asians out of Eurasia calling themselves Caucasian. They don't know even know who they are or what their languages are. That's why Hitler's dumbass was running around talking about Aryan. Aryan is pure white. Is that what I'm hearing? These
I
were multiple science. These are multiple archaeological and anthropological scientists saying this dumb shit.
wow.
Uh, uh, Indo-Aryan is what a gypsy is. Okay? That's even less white than an Indo Iranian, which is an offshoot from Indo European. So, how can these intelligent men claim that Indo Aryan is some pure Nordic race? That's the opposite of it. That's the opposite of being pure. But they gripped onto that and just loved it because it was associated with some other cool stuff in India that they liked. Probably some spaceship they were trying to get out of those Vedas.
Wow. Well, if anybody remembers the name of the dude that came up here screaming obscenity, let me know so I can block him. I didn't get to pay attention close enough to block it, but I thought it was interesting that he had a picture of Thomas Jefferson on his page. Thomas Jefferson just loved him some black children.
Yes,
That's not funny, but he had a children, excuse me, plural, with
five.
wow, with 14-year-old Sally Hemings. So she had to have been younger than that when he started making children with her. So
Her bedroom was right next to his bedroom, so he had easy access, and he cheated on his wife the whole time in front of her, and those little children were running across the house. What's going on with those guys? Anybody know?
they love they it's a love they in love. They just I don't know. They can't get away from us. Somebody said if we moved to Antarctica and start build a colony and start being successful, they would show up on boats. What are y'all doing here? Why are y'all here? It's an obsession, you know.
There is no way we could do anything. Like I said, if we get reparations and everybody says, hey, let's just go somewhere and buy some island, they're going to be on there. There's no way. We've never done anything. No melanated person on this planet has ever done anything and didn't have a white person standing at the door looking at them. We've experienced it here. Look at the Sentinelese people. They can't be on some dingy island minding their own business in the middle of the ocean. Hard to get to. You can't just sail. I can't just sail over there. I got to get all kind of guides and pay people and get on multiple boats. These people are dedicated to stalking. They're dedicated to it. You got to give them that.
Try,
They're persistent.
try, try going to a store, Wani. It just always seems like somebody. It's like my buddy. He told me he calls black people the invisible man. I'm like, what do you mean? He says that they just don't see us. Like, no, they're trying to get in our spaces all the time. They're always around us. Like if you go into a store and you're just in a random location, they just seem to always bump into you. I'm like, why are you always bumping into us? Like, why are you always like? Yeah, I've noticed it too. It's unnerving. Quite to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, it don't bother me for real. It's just, it becomes teachable moments. We're in here minding our own business and they come running up and if you saw how scared he was, he knew he was gonna be put down like a child. So he blah 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 blah, speaking real fast and nervous. That shit's hilarious to me, really. Onyx, what's on
I
your
mean,
mind?
I just wanted to say something really quick. We had the Negro Leagues, we were minding our own business, but if you look up, there was a white man on the Negro Leagues. Why?
Because
Go
them
away.
because FBAs be playing ball like none other, man. We were interesting. We were magical to watch. I'm sorry, housing. I kind of skipped over you. I forgot you had your hand up.
Same thing with the music scene.
I could wait. I want to hear Wani finish. Go ahead, Wani.
Same thing with the music scene. We were playing jazz, we were doing the Charleston, we were doing all these things, and here they come. We want to hear what you're doing. We want to go run back over to the white neighborhood and try to out record you and say that we created it first. They did that with every music genre. Every one. They did it with country, they did it with jazz. Every major thing, they came over to the neighborhood, heard us play, insisted that we show them how to play, it hung up around us, and then ran back over to the white neighborhood, recorded race records. So this is your music, but we're recording it for white people because we can't listen to niggers play it. No, we can't do that. We can't let our women get more drooling over you. Oh yeah, you think they want to listen to, you think they want to look at their women drooling? Music makes people drool. Music makes people get attracted. They don't like it. They can barely handle the sports. So yeah, that's the reason. Every time we do something, they want to see what we're doing so they can copy it and go run over and do a white rendition of it. And that means they're always up under us.
Go ahead, housing.
Hello, everyone. Hey,
What's
guys.
up, brother?
Hey,
Wani, Nikki the God, everybody else. They still feeling sour from OJ. I'm going to touch on that right there. Since OJ, they've been trying to get a win under their belt. It was a case a few years ago when uh, this young brother went out and a bunch of white guys jumped him. He managed to make it home. This happened in the city out in Long Island. And uh, he ran the house and told his dad. So one of the white guys, young kids, demanded that his son come out. And his father said, "My son's not coming nowhere. Please leave my property." And the white guy wouldn't listen. So the black man, so the pop shot him, killed the white guy on his property in New York. He had a permit for the gun and everything. Don't you know they found him guilty and they locked him up? If
yep,
it wasn't for uh, that blind mayor, the blind governor at the time, he probably still be in jail. He gave him what is called again?
clemency.
Yes, he gave him clemency. Yes. And when it comes down to this religious thing, Wani, I have a question for you guys, right? When y'all talk about Christianity and the Muslims and all that, why is it like so many of us being misled into the religion? And
These are legitimate concepts that, basically were based on ethical principles. It's not really the religious writings so much, it's just that man is corrupt and they rewrite things and they say, oh, this is a book you didn't see, and then they teach it inappropriately. So it's really man who has
mess the Kool-Aid
corrupted
up.
these whole things. Yeah, I mean, it could have just been a way of expressing morals for your particular group. Maybe you want to express them in a Muslim way. Maybe you want to express these morals in this lifestyle in a Christian way. Um, these are different types of ways of expressing yourself religiously. But yeah, I mean, if somebody ethnically brands it and then serves it up to you as you're a guest in it, how are you going to feel? All the faces of it, all the artwork, everything about it is showing you an Arab face or showing you a European face, and you feel left out. That right there is psychologically damaging, even if you intellectually know that these concepts don't have anything to do with them. They just got enamored. This is another thing they got enamored with. You see, they
It
go out, they get enamored with religious writings or concepts and things from Egypt and things from other people's ideas, and then they make a white version of it. And so we're being fed a regurgitated version of it. It's simply like if we create country music and then some white person hears it, steals the concept, runs across town, records it, and then tries to play it back to us. It's not, you don't like it like that. You want your own music that you developed.
Hey, ain't this what Elvis did anyway?
Yes, it is. He did that with Roy Hamilton. Elvis copied Roy Hamilton's clothes, not those big bell bottoms, but the first version of Elvis. His hairstyle, believe it or not, because Roy Hamilton wore his hair kind of high, and even his posture, body language, and of course his voice. And
and
he
the way he
admitted
danced too.
the
And the way he
whole
danced
thing,
too. Yes, yes.
the whole act. And he uh admitted to being enamored with him and liking him and being influenced by him. And boy was he. When I saw Roy Hamilton, I couldn't believe my eyes.
I got a glimpse of him when, due to social media, they posted it on Twitter. Some of his footage of
Hmm.
him singing and recording.
And he did this, I think it was a year before. It was just before Elvis. So he has recorded proof of what he was doing. He was signed for by a record company too, but they didn't want to see a black man singing. They wanted that whole idea, concept, and look, but they wanted a white version. They tried to do this with everything. Everything. We had the Jackson Five, they had to get the Osmonds. We had to be saddled with that corny ass family for years. Every time you looked up, their face was on something, competing with the Jacksons and winning. They always win because they have the population to make these corny people popular. That's the only reason that they get all the play that they got. But we always end up blowing them out of the water because everybody knows Michael Jackson and no one gives a damn about Donny Osmond.
Look at Friends, how they got so rich off of
Yep.
copying Queen Latifah's show. What was the name of the show?
Everything. Living
Yes.
Living
single.
single.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. And one more thing when it comes to the Carmelo Anthony. Now, they're saying that they're gonna drop the murder one charge. He goes to court Tuesday. No, he goes to court tomorrow on Monday, the 14th.
This is probably going to cause a riot. And I think white people want to get their ass rioted on.
This is this is what I
Because
was taught.
their
Go ahead, one.
attitude is we're going to kill him. We're going to murder him or his family. So if you want to do that, you're going to get a riot on your white ass. You're going to get a fucking riot on your white ass and you're
They
not
don't
going to
want the
win.
smoke. They don't want the smoke.
What's
Yeah,
going on? Cause I'm down for it.
wouldn't that be detrimental to them whining because they love Trump,
Yeah.
and I think he's doing a lot of things that are positive for the country. But if you challenge the Black American community, then guess what's going to happen? All of your grand plans are going to go out the window because now you're going to have a fight on your hands, and now you're probably going to lose the midterms, and you're probably going to get washed again because you're going to excite Black people. And I don't think Trump wants that. I think he has a long memory of that because if you notice, they were covering it at first, but then they said let's back away from this because we don't want to get these Black people too excitable because we know what happens when they get mad. They vote and they vote in numbers.
Yes.
So I think that they might need to cool their heels before they overreact and this cascades and the whole "Make America Great Again" thing is a big flop again. That's just this is my opinion on it, but I'm
Yep.
like, I don't think that's going to be a smart strategy on their behalf. And I also think that my personal opinion is I like the murder one charge. Here's why: because they overcharged him. If they would have taken that to a jury and charged him with murder one, you'd have a lot of jurors saying, "Nah, this ain't murder one. This is not murder one," and they would have lost on that. And then,
Fire Nagy. It's going to be a vernacular. What's that term? How you put that vernacular homicide? That's what it's not. Not
well,
what's the
manslaughter.
lowest one,
Well,
Professor?
they're
What's the
probably going
lowest
to.
one, Professor?
I'm not sure, but I think the tactic that it depends. To answer your question, housing, it depends on the state. Everybody got their own. In some states,
No,
it's
it's
you
it's
talking about
it's a
manslaughter or something.
underneath manslaughter. What's the other one? It's another one.
Mm.
Involuntary.
Uh I have
Yeah,
to
that's
look
the
it
only
up.
But
one that I can think of is the involuntary manslaughter, but
well,
Yes,
maybe
But the
they,
problem
it's
is you're in a stand your ground state, and like in the state of Kansas and Missouri, the problem with involuntary manslaughter is you don't have to retreat. And so, like, basically, if somebody approaches you, you feel threatened, you can end them. And the stand your ground states are very clear on that. You know, hey, look, you do an aggressive act toward a person, they warn you. He warned them, don't do it again, or do not put your hands on me. They're gonna have a hard time because now they overcharge him. Now they're gonna have to go and say, well, because now if you're Carmelo Anthony's defense, you're like, we can beat this too because they're already running scared.
he got two lawyers. He got. What's up with those lawyers? Anybody know the background of those guys? He got a female and two lawyers. He got a brother and he got a sister representing him. Anybody know their names?
no, I don't. I'll look it up though. But with respect to the murder one, first and foremost, I want to say this is a nonviolent space. We're scholars and we have we're nonviolent. But secondly, I wanted to say, with respect to housing's question, what I was taught years ago in criminal procedure, my second year of law school, was that's kind of what they do when they want. It's clever. Like you throw something real, a charge that's real
High.
outrageous up, and then you back it down. So it could be a game being played, but in my opinion, I don't see anything that young man did other than defend his life. That's what I see.
Absolutely. Will his statement
Just
that he gave the police be admissible in court, being that he was underage?
just because he said he did it, he did do it. So what's the problem? He should have done it. This
Hello,
conversation,
everybody.
this conversation should
What's
really
that?
be
We got a
this.
we got an African, I think, in
she's
here.
gone.
Oh,
She or
Oh,
he is
okay.
gone because we're talking about something. We're talking about our people.
You know what? This conversation, if it wasn't for race, should have been about bullying and
They're not even mentioning that, Wani. They're not mentioning nothing aggressive
taken the fuck
on
down, being
McCaffrey's
a bully.
side.
Well, I know that, but this is bullying, and sometimes the bully gets fucked up. In fact, a lot of times, this reminds me of my experience with bullying, where just one day I said, "I'm gonna fuck you up," and I don't give a fuck what happens. Just one day, you just snap. Look, this
yeah,
mooing
it's
is
it's somebody with
reminding
an
me.
African name in here. Let's see, Harambe, which is
Is Harambe the one
yeah,
mooing?
he's probably not African
This
descent.
person does not even know that a Harambe is not a cow. That's how dumb these people are.
How they
Okay.
able to do it?
Why is his mother talking though? That's the part I don't understand.
No, Harambe. Here's the thing. That Harambe is that gorilla that was killed because the kid fell into the gorilla cage. That's who that is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
basically, this is like a white
Yes.
alt right incel troll.
Yeah,
I already know what that
Yeah,
is.
it doesn't matter, but
I removed him.
gorillas don't move, so I just think he needs to take some zoology lessons.
Yeah, most of them that come
Yeah,
in
as you
here,
were
like
saying,
like
Wani.
our brother Tariq pointed out the other day, most of them are ignorant that come up in here. And what's really lighting their fire, ladies and gentlemen, is we are in here having a high level intellectual discussion, and they want to participate and they can't keep up. It's driving them crazy.
Yeah, the family is in here
Absolutely.
cooking. The family just knows what they're talking about, and they hate that. We got people in
Yeah,
here
you
who
can't
are
give them low class trash the attention that they want either. So. They just low class trash. That's all it is. But as far as when it comes to riot upon the white folks, I'm with all the violence. I really am. I know some people
Well,
say
well,
it's wrong,
well, Captain, Captain, we are non. I hear your point of view, but this is a non-violent space, ladies and gentlemen. We got to be careful with, you know,
You can DM me your violent
yeah, yeah,
plans.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
we
bring it
yeah,
to the
we,
space. I love
Yeah,
yeah,
you,
put
we
in
brother,
the
like
but don't
chat.
bring it to the space.
yeah,
yeah,
and
we
you know
like
what?
ice cream and cake. We not violent.
Yeah,
What does that
I
mean?
just love the black. The
Now I
black
want
and
cake.
housing are so
Huh?
funny.
Now, professors, with
Housing
all
just
due
made me
respect,
want
I got
cake.
to say one thing and I'm gonna leave it alone, man. I'm gonna say one thing and leave it alone.
You can say it
All
to us
I
in the
need,
back channel because just like I said, if it's something, because I've gotten up on stage and said things that I probably shouldn't because we're all emotional about, we're all passionate. So if it's something that could be perceived the wrong way, just be careful, okay?
Yeah,
Will
Okay.
on this stage, we fight in the courtroom. That's how we fight. We fight with books, with articles, and in the courtroom. That's what we do here. We're a non-violent space.
Hey,
let
Wani,
me
I need to
just
ask you a question.
yes.
You said that you've seen how they basically will discover some information and then flip it around in their own image. Do you think that's common practice with everything that they do when it comes to music, religion, just everything they do? They put a white face upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Generally,
Yes.
yeah, I really think
Because
that's very interesting. I
I'm
think
gonna
because they
I'm gonna
discover it,
tell
then
you
they switch it.
why. Is they have a deeply embedded hatred of anything that's not them. So they can't like Jesus unless he looks like one of the Bee Gees. They can't like a music act unless it looks like their dumbass. Even if they look corny and have no talent, that's why they had to give it up because they couldn't stand it. They loved them some Michael Jackson.
We
They couldn't they could not compete with that Donny Osmond shit.
Well, you know what, Wani? I saw this shit so clear the other day. I was playing, I was writing an article and was playing. It's this thing. I love it. What's it called with NPR? Tiny Desk. Y'all know that? Where they have the artist really singing.
Oh yeah, they got front porch and they got front porch now too. It's where they stand outside on the front porch. Ti was on. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Go ahead, Professor. I just want
Oh,
to
oh,
talk.
oh, yeah, yeah. No, no, you're good. Um, like, uh, I was listening to Tiny Desk. Um, and I had a text. Forgive me for a moment, but I was on Tiny Desk and watching like I was watching her and I was watching Usher and it was it John Legend? No, it wasn't John Legend. It was Anthony Hamilton. I mean, it sounded better than the damn recording, the CDs, right? And then followed right behind them was Justin Timberlake. And I used to listen to him when I was a little boy and was like, man, I'm gonna rock some Justin. And on Tiny Desk, he sounded awful. Like he didn't sound. He sounded. And I realized right then
They
how.
get DEI.
Yeah.
The
DEI.
machines, Professor, the
What you say,
recording.
Ronnie? DEI.
They are the DEI of sports and music and every damn thing else. They just get their asses propped up for being
Yes.
white. That's it.
Yes.
They don't
They
have to
couldn't use
have
that
talent.
Nelly Vanilli effect.
Oh my God. They just prop up whoever they want.
That's a
Especially in the jazz world,
that's a
the
quote what
jazz
Ronnie
world as
just said.
well. Like what's the guy's name? One of the guy that
Kenny
plays
G. Kenny G.
yeah, Kenny G. Like what?
Yep, they boosted him up like he was,
He's straight trash.
Or David Sanborn, because all they doing is remixing
No,
Stevie
no, no,
Wonder.
no. One, no. Listen, I'm not. Listen, a couple. They got a couple of good cuts, but after that, most of the albums is trash. One or two.
But how's it? All they cuss or remakes of black music, like Stevie
Yes.
Wonder, like that. Is it She Love It? That's the David Sanborn biggest hit.
it's
It's just
less.
the saxophone
You
version.
you got a couple of them. You got a couple of them like back in the days, like Dave Brubeck, on the piano. He's
But he had to get him
classic.
some niggas down
You know,
south.
and I give Pat Metheny a little props when he played the guitar. But other than that, no, I don't want to listen to nobody else.
Hey,
Give me
how's
Little
Miles.
David
Richard was
Give me
telling
Bowie
on
Cool
record?
Train.
people. Y'all remember Little Richard was telling on people? saying
Yep.
where they got all their where these white people got their original styles and how some people weren't even playing the drums for themselves. He was telling on all of them. And
They used to sit and watch Miles and Coltrane at the studios in Manhattan while they record. My kind of uh the most famous recording album ever been recorded in jazz is called Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
so
was
beautiful.
oh
Hey,
my
look at the
god.
Beatles when they came
Oh
to
my
America.
god.
They they they
If
they was kissing
anybody
How
like
Hollywood butt.
jazz, you have
Professor
to listen
John
to
B
Kind of
sounded
Blue.
John
I
B
do
sounded
not.
awful too. I'm glad you mentioned that. He was horrible. I'm like, am I the only one? John B is horrible in
And,
live
and,
on live.
And that was Babyface and his
hey, and no
brothers.
cap, no cap. I used to listen to Coldplay. I still like some of their shit. I don't discriminate on but I listened to Coldplay. Like every member of the dominant society that had a tiny desk, it sounded awful. I was like, wow, they can't even keep up with. It made me wonder how much of the computers and stuff like support them. You know what I'm
They
saying?
had a small window of time when they were called Blue Eyed Soul. They were not doing what they normally do with music, which is take our stuff and go run over and play it for the white people. This is one time where they said, no, we're going to sing to black people. You like it? And we did like it. And then they went back to being racist again. So I don't know.
Absolutely. Only one white person could probably like sing to me, and that's Tina Marie.
Thank you. She's Portuguese.
yeah.
Yes, and she's Portuguese.
She's not a
She could,
regular white person.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
because
on my
I can't deal with
she's on my
no Tina
playlist.
Marie hate.
Oh yeah,
I
she's
can't.
all up in my.
Yeah, she's too
She's
Yeah,
all
good.
she's
over my
definitely on my
playlist.
playlist.
She's
That's
too
white
damn
chocolate.
good.
I think the
Christian.
main
Go
problem
ahead.
when it comes to white society is that they're so focused on what somebody else is doing that they don't cultivate their own skills. Or whenever you cheat, it's like you're never really like you don't practice yourself, and inevitably you grow weaker with time. And so I think that's really where a lot of their weakness comes from. It comes from them never ever
Homing their
putting themselves to the
skills.
test. Yeah, they never
Where are
ever.
you
That's
from?
why
You
Justin
sound like my
Bieber out here
cousins.
stressing.
Are you from the Delmarva area?
Ooh,
I'm
wee,
from
Bonnie.
Pittsburgh.
Huh?
I'm from Pittsburgh, PA.
See you. I know my people's accents are so funny.
What up,
See, that,
Pittsburgh? You
that's
know I
why
fuck
them
with y'all
Hey,
Texans
Hey,
boys.
what's up?
vicious.
Pittsburgh.
And Wani, what about George Michaels?
Oh yeah, George Michael's very
I,
talented
Very
and
talented.
I really
very.
like him. Thank you, Wani. Thank y'all
I
for
heard
Tina
him
Marie
play.
and George Michael.
He's the tail end of Blue Eyed Soul. He really, in fact, I noticed a lot of really good acts come from the UK. Maybe we wouldn't have seen them if they weren't good, is what I'm thinking. Like Sade. I mean, maybe if they weren't good, they would have just gotten buried
Yeah,
over. But
but her pops is Nigerian. Her mother is
yeah,
Britain. Yep.
right.
That's because the UK used to
Yeah,
worship us.
She's the only Nigerian that does not make me projectile vomit. How does she do it?
but she her preference is white guys.
Yeah, she identifies white. The band is
Yes.
white. Everybody around her is white.
Yeah.
But may I
But
add
Yeah.
something?
still,
May I add something? Do you guys think that like I would like Tina Marie and George Michael and Sade as much if we were delineating back then and had the knowledge that we have right now today? Do you think we would like them as
I don't
much?
know. You know why? I don't know because one thing about music, right? It don't touch you mentally. It touch you spiritually. And her music just touches you a different way for her to be who she was. God bless her too.
Yeah, we respect talent
let me
and
explain the
song.
difference. It's a
Break it down,
matter.
Wani.
It's a matter of respect. Okay. So if you hear somebody's music and you go, "Oh, got that," I'm gone. And you go over to the white neighborhood, try to record it, and then say, "Who are those niggers? They don't have anything to do with." They literally said that. An Italian band leader. Those niggers have nothing to do with jazz. Jazz is the white man's music. That's a direct quote from a popular Italian band leader. Jazz is the white man's invention. The Negro has nothing to do with it except for inventing it and being the stars of it. this is the kind of stuff. There's a white man over in the UK right now trying to convince a bunch of white people that we have nothing to do with jazz. So they're in love with our music. Like Onyx was saying, none of these people develop their stuff. Like, do you think K-pop is a development from Korean traditional music? Nope. They
Hell
just
no.
jump the
Oh
hell
my
up on our
Dun,
God.
dun,
shit.
dun, 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 dun. Wasn't that they traditional music?
You
They sit,
already know.
listen, Wani, they sit and watch videos of black artists, mainly Chris Brown, and how he danced.
But they told me, because I said, this is just you doing hip hop in your way. Oh no, we got it from Britney Spears. Are you on crack? You did not. Britney Spears got it from Michael Jackson and them and Madonna. What are you talking about? Britney Spears. That's not a music genre. That's not a music giant. Oh no, this is an American genre that we're copying. No, it's a black American genre. They don't have any American genres. If they do, please name one. If white people have created any music, why don't they have any music coming out of let's say Australia? What's their music? I do believe that they imported the Bee Gees over here to sing our music.
I
It's
thought
called
that music was a
disco.
didgeridoo that.
Yeah, they made a lot of money off the Bee Gees.
That's right. And they deserve to have popularity because they actually could sing. I think they were in the choir or something.
Beating the
So, you know,
flames out of them.
they were a little, borderline corny, but we wouldn't stop dancing. If we were disco dancing, we literally would just keep on going, even though I kind of didn't, I
Well,
wasn't going to buy a Bee
well,
Gees
well,
album, put it
well,
like that.
well, my take on music and art is as long as you're in doing something that is in your, and I want to be careful how to say this because I don't mean this in a pejorative fashion, but do what you're good at. What I can't stand seeing is dominant society trying to show me who I am, like Adele. I could do without Adele.
Facts, Professor.
Yeah, I don't
Doesn't
feel
matter. But that was,
anything with her music. I'm not feeling it. Just like Housing was saying, it's spiritual.
I want to go back. Somebody was saying something about George Michael. Ain't George Michael from that group called Wham, right?
yes, when he
Okay.
had the blonde bleached hair and the feathers, and then he came out very gay, super
But
gay, because he was in
but
the bathroom trying to have sex with random people going to the
yeah,
What's
But
bathroom.
that's
what is
why he
super
started with
gay? Ronnie,
disco.
yeah.
What is super gay? I thought we were going to
I
talk
don't
about that
know.
tonight.
We have to look that up.
I thought you said it was a glitter bottom
I'm
or something.
still trying to get Chat GTP to agree with me that, gay is a certain type of thing.
Friendship,
You know,
No,
super
happiness.
gay. Super gay is
no.
like Sam Smith.
Hey, Nikki the God,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
my George Michael's. What separates him is that he could sing, as opposed to a lot of other those white
And
artists.
acapello and play the guitar. And maybe he does other
Yeah,
stuff
he
that
had
I didn't
skills.
see.
He had skills in the singing department.
Now, what I was saying before is a matter of respect. So, Dizzy Gillespie created Latin jazz. How did he do that? He's not Latin, but what he did was he was playing jazz and all other kinds of styles of music in that era. And he said, hey, I want to use Latin rhythms in this jazz. But he didn't just start playing Latin rhythms and say, well, I didn't get that from Latin Americans. He actually came up with the concept and then brought some Latin American percussionists over to perform at Carnegie Hall. He was respectful. He admitted that he wanted to use this particular style of rhythm. That's what you call respecting someone else, but that's not what we've experienced most of the time. We usually experience from the dominant society them getting enamored with something we're doing, then lying out of their ass to say that they created it, or either censoring us like they did. We had a global censure against jazz. It was the music of the lower races. It was monkey sounds, according to Henry Ford.
It
And
started in New Orleans. Am I correct?
yeah, they banned it.
Yes.
And they Japanese people banned it, Germans banned it, UK, all these people banned our music. But so how are you going to be the creator of it and then ban it at the same time? So their lies, they start lying. And like I said, the blue-eyed soul era was the one time when white people said, "No, we like this music and we want to sing it to you. We want to impress the black community." And sometimes you didn't even know the person was white, like that song, "What You Won't Do, Do for Love." Most people did not know that guy was white. He's white as hell, but he admires that style of music. He put out a good product, and he didn't try to say, "I got mine," and sell it over to the white people. It was being sold to us. We were the people buying it. So they were the first white people to crack that race records thing. And hey, if they crossed over, fine, but they really didn't try to cross over that hard. They were like, "No, we're singing to this group." A lot of those people respected our music and took pride in playing it in the fashion that we would want it played in.
What's that guy, Ronnie, that went with she left him. This other guy right here.
She
What's his
left
name?
him.
She left him. She's the actor.
Uh, that's too vague. A lot of people left a
All
lot of
right,
people.
hold on. All right.
She left him.
What's the movie when her and her husband jumped over the broom?
I don't
You
know.
know, so many movies they jumped over
I
No,
broom.
it was
don't
no,
know.
it was uh it was a few actors in it.
You talking
Oh
about like
man.
an example of
There's a
a
few actors in every
you talking about a
movie.
Oh, I
wedding singer?
Lonnie, bear with me. Hold on.
No, I want to
Sh
tease you right now.
Paula Patton, her husband. What's his name?
Oh, Robert
Robin
Thicke
Thicke.
or whatever. I called him
Yes,
Robert Thicke.
That
yes.
you talking about the
What
girl
about
Ben
him?
Ben
does in that
Shapiro.
that movie called
Auto
with
Jumping the
Truck.
Denzel,
broom.
Vertigo or something.
And plus she played in Mission Impossible too.
Now, why would anyone name a man Robin? That's not right.
Auto Tone.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's
But
all it is. That's all it is.
is he
Same
does he
thing Justin
fall under
T.
that
Justin Bieber going through.
that category you just named,
I
Wani?
don't. Yes and no, but there's something. It's not the same thing. I
I
think the
got you.
blue-eyed era is gone. Sure, there's some white boys trying to sing to us, but it just not working out. No, 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 no. It doesn't feel right. You know when it's right. Okay,
Right.
Warning,
trust your
that is
gut.
dead.
Right. Right.
Trust
All
your
we
gut.
want to see them do is dance. That's dead. You see Justin Bieber is out here
Oh Lord,
stressing.
Oh my
I don't know
Don't
God.
want
what
to be
he's
seen
doing.
in front of the camera or nothing.
Oh my
Ain't no more
God.
niggas writing for him. He can't deal
Now
with it.
let me ask you a question, Black. Is it is it being that they who was it Ti or who brought him into the game? Ti, right?
No, Usher gave
All
him
right,
some
Usher.
business.
Was it a money thing?
Yeah, just like King Creole, Elvis Presley was a money thing.
Right.
They use a white face to make it palatable to white people. It's all about money to them. That's all they give a damn about. That's why, like when it comes to that sound residency, when you play black music, especially like the older music, it makes beautiful patterns. We you use the same music and some white people singing it, it don't make the same patterns. Like
No,
it is
it doesn't. It
actually
doesn't.
like we
It
grabbed it
doesn't
from the
hit right.
ether.
It just doesn't hit right.
Yeah. That's why they like Patti LaBelle still up here singing at 60 with her young man on the side, and you got all these old people like Willie Nelson. He can barely sing his songs right now. Even though I like me some Willie Nelson.
Yeah, yeah, we have more longevity. I agree with that.
No,
I
I
want
like the other. Go ahead, Professor.
no. Go ahead, land your plane, bro. And we're gonna go to my take on, then we're going to
All right, I
concern.
like that. Is one more female singer that I used to Bonnie Reddy. She's had a couple of songs I liked.
All right, my take on what's your thoughts?
I land my plane.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir. He good, bro. Go ahead,
Well,
my
can
take.
you hear me?
I think.
Okay. I'm an old lady from Scotland,
Okay.
and I love you guys.
Okay.
And I I don't think music has a color.
Music has a what?
She don't think
Any
music has a
color.
color.
It does have a color.
It does.
Oh, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, okay, if you want it to have. I just love music. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care. I'm an old Scottish girl with not great
So what's your favorite kind of
um
music? Lass.
disco. And I know it's
Disco.
got a bad history. I love disco, and I'm sorry to
Disco.
say it's got a
Girl,
bad
what you are you
history.
disco dancing over there? Is that what you're
Yes,
doing?
I
What?
am an old
That
60
Saturday
year
Night
old that
Fever.
loves disco. I'm
Which one do
sorry
you
to say it.
what do you like Evelyn Champagne King?
Yes,
What the hell?
I love disco. I'm an old Scottish girl. I'm an old bird
You're an old
that
Scottish
loves,
gal.
yeah,
Are you a
that loves
lass?
disco.
Is that what do you get to be a lass or is that just the Irish women?
No, no, Scottish girls get to
You
be
can be a
lassies.
lass too.
We're lassies.
Oh,
Lassie.
y'all not
Yeah,
playing
lassies.
bagpipes?
Like a bad
You
coffee.
should
We're
develop
lassies.
bagpipe music. This is what you've got to do. You've got to get those bagpipes out,
Yeah.
get yourself some haggis, and get
Yes.
into it. Put on some
Bagpipe
high
Yeah.
disco,
socks.
Wani. Bagpipe disco.
Bagpipe disco is it. I'm going to develop that right now.
well,
I'm so impressed
my
that
my
you're ahead of the curve with your bagpipe disco. I've never heard it, and I live here.
well,
Please.
my take, Miss, my take. I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you. I think that music does have a color. Music, words, voice, sound has a vibration, and vibration
Oh
is
yeah.
it's expressed in color. You know,
Yes, I agree.
we were created to see color. That means that somebody a lot or an entity a lot smarter and wiser than us thought it was important that we saw and saw different colors and felt different
Yeah, no, I
vibrations.
agree. I agree. That could be God, it could be Yeshua, it could be yeah, no, I totally get it. I'm with you.
So with that
Okay.
logic, it's fair to say that Black Americans have our own vibration, and
Hmm.
that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that European or white Americans' vibration is better or worse. It's just different. I really enjoyed when I was younger, and still occasionally enjoy listening to Pink Floyd. You know them?
I don't like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I don't like Pink Floyd.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm white and I hate Pink Floyd. I'm sorry
What
to
Pink Floyd
just
song do
burst
you
your
like?
bubble. I don't like
I
them,
like
you
Time.
know.
Time. Let me go look
Mm.
it up.
It's real long, but it's dope. But it's my point.
I
I
hate
like that
Pink
movie.
Floyd. I'm
I like that
sorry.
song because it's
Roger
on a lot of
Waters.
movies.
No, thank you.
Well, my point is everybody has their own vibration, and to have emotional intelligence, we need to respect. And I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying we. It's important that we respect everybody's vibration. Diversity is what makes life more enjoyable. So we need to respect
Yeah.
everybody's vibration. I'm just kind of disagreeing with
Yeah.
you. Say you don't see color. Music doesn't have
Oh,
color.
please
My
don't
point is that
disagree with me.
no, it's
I
not a
don't
bad thing.
disagree with you. Please don't disagree with me.
No,
Don't
disagreement is
at
not
all
bad.
disagree with you. I love everyone in the world.
No, love is good. I'm just saying that we need to, and I'm not saying anything bad about you.
I'm
Disagreeing is
not disrespecting anybody.
no. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying vibrations can be different, and that's okay.
What's your vibration?
Huh? I didn't hear you out.
What's your vibration?
My
Oh
vibration. I don't know.
my.
You tell me.
You tell me. I don't know your vibration. I've just met you. So you're telling me about my vibration, but I'm just asking you,
Um,
what's your vibration?
I don't understand the
I'd
question.
love to know it because I love a song list. I love a
What's my?
playlist.
Well, I
Tell
like.
me your vibe. Give me 5 songs, because I'm all about music. So tell me, what's your vibration? Give me 5 songs for your
Well,
vibration.
it's not really important. I'm just
No, it is. It's
specifying a point.
vitally
I
important.
like so
Music
much.
is the core of life.
I like so
So
many.
what's your vibration?
I like so many. It
What's your
wouldn't be. It's
vibration?
not really that important. I'm just saying we're. It's okay.
Okay then.
It's okay.
Ignore music. What's your
I
political
do not
vibration?
like Pink Floyd because they're very abusive with the guitar and not in a good way.
Yeah. Well, the point of
I just wanted to complain about the song.
yeah, we're getting off into space with this point, and the point is just very very simple. I'm saying that we don't see color and don't hear difference in music is that's a pitfall because we do see color, we do hear difference, we do, and the key is to acknowledge the difference and respect the difference and enjoy the diversity. One of the biggest pitfalls is trying to jump in somebody else's vibration and take it over. That's what we're talking about.
Hey, I got your bagpipe disco.
Oh no. No, no, no. Oh boy. This is rough. Is that it?
Yeah,
Did we start dancing now?
we're gonna move on to slap. What's on your mind, slap?
Hey, what up, bro? Hey, really, yeah, I just got to say that as far as music goes, black people, we really been the cornerstone of music as far as anything being hip, being cool, being nice to everybody, like universal to every culture that everybody can pick up on and like it. Nobody else has that. You can go to Japan, China, Australia, wherever, whatever. Nobody got that. Black Americans, FBA, Freedmen, we have that. And everybody loves it and they copy it and they don't want to give us any credit for it. And it's like, all right, y'all you got your own little style over there, and that's cool, but don't copy us and not give us any homage for what you're doing over there because we know where you got it from. It's like before us, white people was doing stuff like oh Susanna, or corny shit like that. It wasn't nothing that we would do. Like we brought soul, we brought substance into music, the country music since like the mid 1800s, and the jazz, the soul, the rap, the R&B, all of that. We brought all of that into music. And so when people say that they ain't get it from us, it just it pisses me off, really. Because it's like I just don't get it why
But
people would
even
do
the
that
internet,
and get
the
all of this material from us. Have you seen the Chinese people in the like the church doing the choir music?
yes, we saw that.
Yeah, like man, come on, man. We
Don't
got
forget
this
them
on
Koreans too,
lock.
bro.
Okay,
This
but
is us.
I just wanted
And
to
don't forget the Koreans, bro.
This
We got the
us.
Koreans too.
I just
Like
want to say
man,
this.
like can't nobody claim this right here. We got this. Like we ain't
Hold
needed
on.
nobody else.
Hold on one sec. Slap. Wani was talking. Wani.
Slap, I just wanted to say, I know that it's frustrating, but these people are just mentally retarded because when you go look up these music genres, it says Korean hip hop. It just tells you exactly where it came from. So they're lying out of their ass, but nobody believes them. I don't know who they're trying to convince of this.
Yeah.
All of these things are versions of our music, and they can't get around it. The only people that got away with something was Jamaicans and their little sidekicks, Hispanics, that tried to come along and say they created hip hop, and then they got slam dunked out of the conversation with microphone check. So yeah, they made a hard move, and the only reason they could do that is because they were all up in our face. But these other people, they don't have access like that, so they look really crazy doing and saying the things that they're doing and saying.
Well, Slap, I'm gonna let you land your plane, but I wanted to interject right quick because I don't want this to get lost in the sauce. My take on seems like a very sweet, nice person, but what she's,
Thank you.
but yeah, you do. But
All that, yeah, thank you. All I want to
hold on,
know
my take.
is
Hold on, my take. Hold on, my take. What she said was kind of dangerous. I'm not saying she had any ill intent. I don't think she does. But the whole paradigm of I don't see color, I don't notice color is dangerous because we really do.
Was
We
she saying that about music or people?
music.
Okay, so the whole time that Black Americans have been making music, maybe Scottish people don't know, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. We had something called race records where we would create a sound or a genre, and the white people would come over and steal it and go run across the town and try to record it ahead of us. Or even if they recorded it after us, which happened most of the time, they would sell it to themselves because they couldn't stand listening to us
I'm
play
sorry,
authentic
that's really
music.
vile.
This is
I'm
what they
sorry,
do.
that's
There's
really
but
vile. I
okay,
have
but
been
there's
married to a Tibetan,
hold on.
and there is
There's
no more
there's a
minority
mi-
than the
okay, so
Tibetans
like I
in
said,
the
this is
world.
what
And I have been married to a Jew.
relax,
So
Need
I've
relax,
some
been
of that
married.
bad
No,
pipe
don't take.
disco?
relax a minute. Check it out. This is what allies should do. You live in Scotland. In the UK, there's a white man running around telling everybody he created jazz, but I don't see anybody saying anything to him and shutting his ass down and telling him to shut the hell up. Yeah, you guys see color. You invented the whole concept. So now you have to live with it. Music is color coded because we tried to do it your way and we got lynched. So we're not doing it your way. We have to protect ourselves.
Most definitely. Wani, I definitely feel you right there. And I always respected your opinion on these things because you've been to every country and damn earth, like for real. But yeah, like I was saying, these people they don't respect where they get the art from. All this good art, it comes from us, and I just don't understand why they don't want to pay
Tell me
homage
what
to
white
us.
means. And
Like,
I've been married to a Tibetan,
can you
and I've
be
been married
quiet
to a
while I'm talking? I didn't
Jew.
cut you off.
What does
Mighty,
white
do you need
mean?
some bagpipe disco?
Hey, man,
Yeah, like
my take.
you know,
Hold on one
go
second.
on, kill it.
Hold on one second, Slap. I'm gonna let you land your plane.
I'm not meaning to be disruptive. I'm not meaning to be awful.
Ma'am, let the gentleman speak. We have order on here. Now, now to be real with y'all, the hairs on the back of my neck went up when she started saying I don't see color. You know, that's kind of like a disarming technique. Now, my take,
No, it's not. It's a
I'm
genuine. No,
trying
it's
to give you
Mighty,
I'm,
would you like some bagpipe
I'm
disco?
trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. So my take, this how it's gonna work. We're gonna let Slap land his plane, and I'm gonna let you respond. But please stop talking over people because that's perceived as disrespect in our culture. Go ahead, Slap.
All right, but all I had to say was like. I like people to give us our homage for our music that we made. We made America what it is. We done dug the ditches. We done made the
I
railroads.
agree.
We done did
I
all kinds of
agree.
things. Like, will you be quiet?
No, I do agree. I totally agree.
I don't need no alley oop. I don't need no attaboy, nothing. Like, just, go ahead and let me land my plane. All I'm saying is that when it comes to this music art, the most famous art of music comes from Black Americans all day. That's where it comes from, and that where everybody is copying. And so this is like it's here. It's right here. Nobody else can duplicate what we are doing. Anything that anybody else is doing is a copy of what the originality of FBA has been dead. Like you can look or far as you want to. Look at Tariq Nasheed's microphone check. Everything. Like as far as Europeans in Europe, like Europeans colonized Europe because that was black before also. And so I'll land my plane there.
Um, my take. Did you have a response? Going once, going twice. All right, come on, concern. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Ron? What's up, Professor? What's up, Nikki? What's up, Wani? Um, I just wanted to add because you guys were talking about K-pop, but I wanted to add something to what Wani was saying. K-pop was originally created by Teddy Riley. I don't know if anybody know that. You could do your research. All they hits. He actually produced the music himself. They said they wanted a version of the New Jack Swing because I'm. Did I say Teddy Riley? Yeah, Teddy Riley, and he's the one that created the New Jack Swing. So what they did was they paid him enough money to go to Korea to create K-pop, and that's the little bit of submission I had about just that. But yeah, good space and peace to everybody on the stage.
Appreciate you,
And
brother. I didn't know that.
Teddy Riley
Hip
shared it with the
hop,
Asians, though.
hippity hop,
Teddy,
that is
be
hip
excuse me,
hop.
ma'am, be quiet while I'm
Don't
talking.
stop.
Uh, Teddy Riley, without due respect to him, he shared it with the Asians, and that's off code behavior because now we have a culture issue, and they're claiming to have created something that they didn't create. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Don't interrupt people while they're talking, ma'am.
That's a fact. I mean, their fans are very disrespectful to Black Americans. And again, they have taken our music and they want to regurgitate
But
it
no one's
to,
talking about what they
eh,
mean.
my God.
I removed her. I removed her. I told her it's perceived as disrespect, and she keeps going, so she can find another space to join. What were you saying, Wanda?
Again, K-pop, J-pop, C-pop, and all the rest of that chat stuff is basically Donny Osmond 2.0. We can't listen to niggers, so let's copy what they're doing and sing it to our people and make ourselves popular with our massive population, dime a dozen too many people on the planet selves. That is what they're doing. They simply don't want to like our acts, so they steal the act, sing it to their people, race records continues.
Oh, can I say
Back.
something before the black
Wait,
goal?
wait, just real quick. I'm sorry, concerns. You know you my homeboy, but I gotta piggyback off of something Ronnie said because I'm feeling that. Do you remember that vision of those white people? I think they went to see Frankie, whatever his name was, the guy,
Yes,
this
and they
black,
were making all, did you, the faces were crazy because
the
they were
faces.
wanting to like it, but their racism was jumping out of their eyeballs and they were looking at each other to see, are you liking it publicly? Yeah, because they liked it, but they couldn't let anyone know they liked it. And so they were making a bunch of crazy racist faces, which we know what they are because we have superpowers from having to deal with these people
Yes,
generationally. We know their facial cues. We know what they're thinking.
yes,
We have to survive.
Yes, it's given us a sixth or seventh sense. It's like when that Scottish lady with the kitties came up here when she said, "I don't see color." I knew it was gonna get hostile. That is that I don't see color, or I love the blacks, or my best friend is black. What that is let me come on, let me take your gun, let me take all your weapons. Now I'm gonna get you. You know, how did I know that? And check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to think that that was gonna happen, but I knew it was gonna happen. Go ahead.
I think she drunk a couple of Jägermeisters when she stumbled down the pub.
Yeah, she was
go
tipsy,
ahead,
Professor.
concern.
Is that
Go
Oh,
ahead,
right?
what
concern.
I was going, y'all wilding. What I was going to say is that we are the true original creators, and everybody else is just imitating things that we have created amongst time. And even though you might say white folk, what created war. They didn't create war. They took war from us. We used war to defend ourselves. They used war to take over everything that wasn't theirs. But because we the original creators, we came out of slavery with all those patents. It showed that everything that we put our hands on turned to gold, like most people say. But I land with that, man, in nice space, and I'm gonna go back to listeners. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Wani, Professor,
Hey, what's up, bro?
you was
Yeah.
talking about Pink Floyd, right,
Yes,
Professor?
sir.
Real quick, right? This is my one of my favorite artists, Professor. That's Meatloaf. I got a thing for one of his songs.
Oh my
You know,
God.
I never
You
really got
guys
into
are
him.
a bunch of
I'm gonna
hunky
close.
lovers. You guys are massive hunky lovers right now.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, I want to play with the
just
Irish
one, just
lady
one,
maybe
Wani.
some more.
I'll do anything for love, but I won't do
Oh, I
that.
know that. I know it is a good song. But yeah, I don't discriminate with music. But just the truth be told, we have more dynamic music. You have a lot of people in the dominant society saying, when I was a child, say, stop listening to. I live in Alabama. Stop listening to rap music. Listen to something nice like classical music. They thought that classical music was created by the dominant society, but it wasn't. It was stolen. Classical music belongs to us as well. Deal with that.
The
I'll
leprechaun
ex-
lady's back.
I'll explain how later.
Come on, Black Radio. What's on your mind, bro?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm a native of Birmingham, Alabama also. I grew up, I don't know if you listened to Kicks 106 back in the days. They had a radio station called Kicks 106. They might have been before your time.
Now I don't
But
remember Kicks 106. I remember 95.7 though.
okay, but they had a station before that time called Kicks 106. They played black music and white music. They kind of mixed it up a little bit. I think they called it adult contemporary. But during that time, I mean, they knew that it was white music and it's always been black music and white music. Music has a color. And I agree with you when you say that. I mean, growing up, I
Thank
listened
you.
to Duran. I listened to the people across the pond.
Thank
A lot of
you.
black people listened to British rock back in
I
the
do
day.
too.
A
I
lot of
like
us was
some of it.
influenced to
Thank
listen to
you.
that type of music. So I mean,
I
it's
love you,
diverse.
brother.
Mighty,
It's
calm
diversity in
down. Get
music,
this rule
but
Man,
music,
together.
relax a bit.
music has a color though. Music, they're like I like Steely Dan. Steely Dan, a
Me
white
Yeah,
man,
too.
Steely Dan
I
got some
love
good
but
stuff.
Steely Dan.
yeah, but that I separate the music though. It's like it's black music, then you got white music. So it's a difference in the music. I mean, just like with black music, you got good black groups like
Black, I am with
Soul to
you as
Soul.
your
You got Loose
sister.
Ends.
Mighty,
Acting
They
as
made
pink
British
lady.
soul. They made British
My,
soul.
Who is
I
that
am
that's
with you.
talking?
Hold on, it's my take. My take. If you speak out of turn one more time, I'm gonna remove you and block you. Because right now,
God, she needs to
I
stop. What
was
are
I
you
was
doing?
the only reason she's still up here is I'm using you to teach my people. You came up here with pretending like I'm the innocent old lass. I saw through that shit when you first started talking. I knew you were trying to disarm us. Now I'm perceiving you to be an agent of chaos. I'm gonna give you one more chance. If you come off your mic and interrupt somebody else, I'm gonna remove you. Raise your hand if you want to talk, ma'am, like everybody else. Go ahead, brother.
Why is she being bad?
I think she came in here as an agent of chaos, but that's just a thought.
Uh, could you, uh, could you, step out of the car, ma'am, and walk on this line?
I think she needs some BBC in her life. That's all, bro.
So she left the pub earlier.
Do they have
Ew.
Scottish ale professing in Scotland?
Hello?
She drunk a couple of Jägermeisters.
Jägermeister.
Hey,
Oh,
Black,
Wani, you've been over there, Wani.
I've
Do they
never been
got
to Scotland. No.
Wani? You've
I
been over.
went to
Do they?
see the Loch Ness Monster. That was it. I didn't want to see no people, and y'all all look ugly.
Little Nessie.
I was all into the Nessie.
Hey, Black Radio, what part of Birmingham you from, man?
All I
Well,
saw
I
was
was
a
I was
lake.
born in Bessemer, but I lived in Ensley. I lived in Center Point, in Gate City. I lived all around.
Okay. Okay.
And like right now I'm in Medellin, Colombia. I left the U.S. like 10 years ago. I've been traveling the world. for the last 10 years as an expat. But I kind of even when I lived in the United States, I moved around a lot too. Being ex-military,
Okay, I'm gonna send you a follow, man. I appreciate your submission. Who is next up?
hey, but one more thing I wanted to
Oh,
say though is
land your plane, bro.
there is I agree with you with the black and white music though. There's a difference between the music, and I look at music by, like I said, sometimes black and white music. Even like with like you got groups like Loose Ends, Soul to Soul from over in the UK, and they, even though they black, I look at that music as different also. I mean, even in our own
Are
people,
they
because
Caribbean?
they're not FBA people, but they made good music, and I acknowledge that music and
They're
I
not.
like it.
Not FBA. I don't know.
But
I'm boycotting them.
this is a good. I'm glad that this came up, ladies and gentlemen. When somebody tells you they don't see color or they don't notice color, they're telling you two things. They're telling you that they're a liar, or that they have some type of developmental disability. Like, we were designed to see color. A friend of mine, a biology professor, taught me that a color was put in our eyes to see different colors of vegetables. When we ate plants, and we were what do you call it? What do you call it, Wani? When you just
Alkaline.
not alkaline. What do you call it? A herbivore? I forget the term.
Yeah,
But
herbivores.
yeah, we were designed that way because certain colors will kill you. So we develop the differentiation of
Oh
color.
yeah, because certain snakes or and frogs are brightly colored to
Right.
let you know they're poisonous.
Right. So the creator imbued us with that ability. So when people come in your spaces in personam or on the internet talking about I don't see this, they're telling you one or two things. They're telling you they got some type of developmental issue, or more than likely they're telling you I'm lying to you. I want to disarm you to get closer to you. So
Just
be real suspicious of that shit.
Didn't the Irish and the Scottish run out their dark skinned counterparts? The
Um,
Cathars.
I don't know. I don't know much about Irish and
they
Scottish
were
history.
fighting so hard. I don't know who was fighting who. Of course, they ran out everybody who wasn't them,
Well,
no.
they're
and they could
swarthy
have
looking
been.
people.
They could have been dark too. But yeah, generally speaking, yeah,
Yeah.
they always
I just
do.
know the Cathars
They
are
hate the
what.
indigenous people. That's a global trend, beating down on the indigenous of the group.
Wow.
Yeah, I just know the Cathars, which later became the Catholics, or were originally like some dark skinned swarthy people from
I gotta
Oh,
look them up and see.
a black over there. You got the Protestants and the Catholics go at each other. The ARA and the
Protestants.
Britons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they go at each other with the bombs and all that from out of
Mm-hmm.
Ireland.
It's very
They're
interesting.
very violent.
I'm talking about during the middle of the medieval ages when
Oh,
it
back
started the
then? Oh,
Crusades.
Well, I'm so grateful that y'all brought that up because that fits back into the first segment of our title of what does white mean. So y'all just brought up two issues, and I'm not my scholarship. I've kind of avoided English history. I wasn't interested, or that part of Europe. That's not my expertise, but I am aware that within the what is now called the United Kingdom, different groups would. I mean, y'all all seen Braveheart. These groups were brutal and they killed each other and they didn't see each other as human. The English thumbed their nose at y'all help me out, the Irish and the Scottish, or was it Irish or Scottish? I forget. But my point of bringing that up is the term and the title was created in diametric opposition once the let me gag a little bit new world was quote unquote new world was created. It was created in diametric opposition to us. So in simply what I was saying is if you trace history back even in Europe, they didn't identify with each other. They started to identify with each other once they got here and it was around us. So like my grandmom used to say, what that mean. We're gonna see what Z Man has to say. Z Man, what say you?
Hello, everyone. I'm
Hello.
kind of making the rounds. Happy Saturday evening to everyone.
Sure.
I'm kind of making the rounds, letting everybody know that 15 million ounces of silver was just purchased off the COMEX. And right now, China is fire sailing U.S. treasuries which means
Hold on, Z man. I had to mute you
Talking about that
because
monopoly money.
you you're uh
Oh,
you're derailing the space. I don't know how that's relevant to topic.
okay.
Um,
Well, you talked about the
mm-hmm.
medieval
Tie it in,
and
dear. Tie it in.
the dark ages, right?
Silver is
Well,
very pale,
I
and
believe that.
therefore,
You
Look,
talking about the usury
I
monopoly
believe
money.
there was, there was the Dark Ages, there was the
mm-hmm.
Jewish-Roman War in around
Mm-hmm.
69, 70 AD. There was
Oh,
the
it's the
Dark
You want
Jews
to talk
again.
Ages,
about Jewish
and
people,
then
dear? Is that what
and
we're
then
doing?
there was the Dark Ages, and then there was
Hello.
a power vacuum with all the Crusades. I believe
Mm-hmm.
everything in Revelations already happened. Jesus
Okay,
already
okay.
reigned for 1,000 years. We
Jaisasa.
left, and we're in Revelations 20 inside
Okay, are
Satan's
you a
house.
Jehovah
Mm-hmm.
Witness
So
or
he
Oh,
did.
Lord.
a Latter Day
Jesus did
Saints?
How many
That's
everything
what that
times
sound
Jesus
like.
said he was gonna do.
is this Jehovah Witness stuff?
Jesus did everything he told his
Listen, I
apostles he
want to
was
ask
gonna
you a quick
do,
question. I
and
want to
all
ask
the
you a quick
events in
question. I want to
Revelations.
ask you a quick question. Are you Jehovah's Witness?
He might be Latter Day Saints.
Go look up how many times
He rock white.
Jehovah's Witnesses have predicted the end of the world. Just go look it up, just for fun. They gave up doing it because they look so damn dumb.
Black, you wearing me out.
We're not dead yet. Have you noticed?
That already happened. Revelations already
Oh,
happened.
we
That's
already
why we're
died? Oh, damn. Nobody told me. Let me get the hell out of here. I'm dead.
He's a
Yo,
Scientologist. That's what he is.
I'm loving y'all tonight.
Jesus has reigned for 1,000 years, and we are in.
Sir, what?
Is that Jesus? Which one? What?
What's your ether meter
What?
levels?
He didn't introduce himself again?
Jesus reigned for 1,000 years.
Where?
Lucifer was on
Where
Earth.
was he reigning?
Where
What?
do you think all these
What?
old
What?
structures
What
come from?
city did he
Where do
come?
they
What
come from?
city was he living in?
He was reigning and ruling over the entire
Did
world.
he have on sandals or what? What neighborhood did he live in? That's what I'm trying to find out.
He ruled the whole and still does the whole earth.
When? Oh,
That's
well,
why
then
we
he
don't
must
know
be.
what
He
happened
must
in
be
the Dark
mean.
Ages. It was
Did he
certainly
He
have
dark
must
for
not be
Lucifer
nice. If
inside
this
of the
is
abyss.
his ruling, he must not be a
Yeah,
nice
come
guy.
on. But
did he
but
have Ray Bans on?
think
Why
Or
are we
about it
getting
for
no?
a
fucked
second.
up so bad?
We have 1,000 years that we don't know what
Why are we
happened
getting fucked up so bad then if all this good stuff is ruling?
Yeah, y'all.
I don't know the difference
because we are
between
in Satan's little season. He was
He's a
Lucifer's
so
I
Scientologist.
so
don't.
that
I
means
don't really
okay.
know. I don't really know what Z Man is talking about, but it don't have nothing to do with what we talking about.
He's
No,
trying
you
to get
brought
us
up
to
the
buy
medieval and the
crypto.
dark ages, and you have
He's
no
trying to
idea
get
what
us to
happened
buy
back then.
crypto and accept
Nobody does.
Jesus at the
I'm
same
not
time.
trying to get anybody to buy crypto. That's a
You are
rug
too.
pull.
You
I'm
do.
trying to get you to buy precious metals so you're not poor.
Give me the
One still
medals then.
dollar
Okay, I'll buy
balances.
them. Send them
Yeah,
to
y'all.
me and
I
I'll give you
removed them.
money later.
I don't know what they do be talking about. I really
He was
don't.
trying to give me silver and you threw him out.
Yeah,
I believe he was on the boat with Ron Herbert,
I don't know what he's talking
try,
about.
trying to measure his ether meters, and said that the aliens will trapped on Earth in bodies.
Oh my God.
He was coming.
Anybody else?
My man said he's coming in here to measure our thetans.
Oh no, not
Yeah,
our Thetans.
yeah. You gotta hang on
Professor,
to
he
the
went back
cans.
1,000 years. What was that about?
He's gonna make us buy some expensive books from Scientology.
Tim Bonner, what's on your mind?
I can't
Hey
afford
man,
that
Dig, can you
religion.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. Well, go ahead.
Hey man, what's happening, man? I live in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
I'm 56 years old. You understand me? And I grew up around music. I'm from Chicago. I came down here about 20 years ago in
Shot
Florida
town.
here. Yeah, man, I growed up doing stage work and music production work right there around some legendary blues artists and everything. And all of that, what we talking about is stemmed around white supremacy, man. You dig all these music artists and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because we had some serious black musicians that I growed up with, like Buddy Guy, Buddy Miles, my cousin them. I did stage work with all these people, and yeah, they stole from us, man. Bottom line, I land my plane, man.
Oh yeah, it all boils back to dominance, cultural dominance, and um, The narratives are very important, as our brother Nasheed talks about. Narratives are so important to warfare. Why? Because of morale. Go back to rule number 7, transfer rule of war number 7. Transform your war into a crusade. Robert Greene says the secret to motivating people and maintaining their morale is to get them to think less about themselves and more about the group. Involve them in a cause, a crusade against a hated enemy. Stop right there. Now, I'm a man that believes in God, but unfortunately, religion has been used as another facet to involve people in a crusade against a hated enemy. Religion was used during the Crusades, which had nothing to do with Jesus. It had more to do with stealing knowledge and stealing precious metals, like the dude was bringing up. The Crusades had nothing to do, but we have to be careful with people rallying around a cause. There's no cause, that appropriate cause, that would make you hate or destroy a whole another group of people. So we need to be careful of these strategies as well.
Okay, the original Booger Sugar.
Booger Sugar.
Yeah, because they was out here trying to search for salt and sugar to put some flavor in their food.
Man, it's a book by Graham Hancock called Sign and the Seal. Like, they went around cutting off heads looking for information and looking for secrets and stuff. Well, his book is about the Grail, but we're not going to get off on that tangent. But just beware, because to unify this group that didn't exist in Europe, like we just identified, the Scottish and the Irish were killing each other for years, and they never saw anything called white. So how do they miraculously?
Brother, brother, I'm
How,
sorry to interject.
Inbreed, baby.
I love,
my
I'm
my
sorry,
my
I
take my take.
love,
Raise your hand, love. Raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
I
Go ahead.
mean, Mega Microsoft, you're drunk today,
My,
mighty.
my my take. I want to know what you think about this, but raise your hand so we can keep some order in here.
She drank 8 of them.
They didn't see white until they came over here. Is it where did this magical whiteness came from? This magical white came from rule number 7. The secret to motivating people and maintaining their morale is to let them to think less about themselves and more about the group. So the Irish, according to Dr. Howard Zinn,
Please tell me, teach me. I want to learn. Please teach me. Teach me what
ma'am,
you're saying.
that's ma'am, that's kind of disruptive.
It
Stop.
Ooh, so
sounds
like
No,
like
she
I
she's
just
want
trying
she
to
to.
on
I
some
think
learn.
she's
soul
hitting
No, it's
on
not
you.
code,
disruptive.
Professor.
I
I think
want
she's
to
hitting on
learn
you.
what
Teach
it is
me.
you're saying
She
because
Mikey,
said,
do you want
teach
some
I've
me.
soul
not heard
code?
this.
COINTELPRO,
Excuse me.
COINTELPRO.
I've not heard this. And I'm
Give
Oh,
me some
asking
white
you,
Hey,
chocolate,
shut up.
please.
please,
Shooting her shot
please
all on the
teach me.
stage.
I want to learn what you think. How is
Well,
that bad?
basically, I think you need to do some things.
I
No, I
believe that
want
she
to
has a
learn.
big
He's
black
saying
dildo in her
Okay, you could
nightstand.
look at some
and I
porn. It's
say,
something that you
please
could
teach
learn.
me. That's not funny.
my take. My take. This
It's
is
not actually
disruptive.
funny. No,
Mighty,
it's
do you
not.
have a
Just,
big black
I'm
dildo
sorry.
in your
This is
nightstand? I
the
just feel
left
like you're
wing
giving those
bullshit.
vibes.
I'm asking you.
I removed her. She's disruptive. Y'all crazy. All right. Who was next? 11 Gripper. What's up?
Oh no, I had something I was gonna say, but I forgot. It doesn't matter. Thanks for giving me the break. This stuff is hilarious. See you guys.
Look, she should have learned in the neighborhood like everybody else. How are you going to get on a stage and try to make the
No,
host
no,
tell
I
you
had a
how to
point I was
do
gonna
it?
make, but
Okay,
it's
you
not
can
going with the
laugh in
flow right
between what
now.
we're
But
saying.
again, thank you for the mic. I'm gonna land my plane, like you said. See you guys.
Okay, I know you want to laugh, but you can still say what you're trying to say.
Oh Lord. Go ahead, Prince.
Hey, Professor, she was trying to make you a pimp. She said,
Hey.
teach me,
I
please."
want to learn. Well, first you go to the bus station, get off the bus, look for a guy in a velvet hat, and it all goes downhill or uphill from there.
What was it saying? I'm gonna tell you the news and show you the root. Dang, I forgot it. God dang it, show you. Oh man, I forgot it. Yeah.
This is not good pimpery. You forgot
Oh,
the
I
line.
done messed it up.
Oh, that's it. She's not getting
He
pimped.
been out the game for a
Yeah,
while. He
I'm
just
rusty,
smooth.
man. I'm rusty.
Hey, Professor,
Uh, what's that?
have you ever heard of a little town called Docino?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's in Inslee.
Yeah, I know Docena. I do.
I was in that town back in the days. You know, I'm from New York, so they was looking at me real different when I was down there.
Right. Yep.
Only thing I kept
Why?
hearing, only thing I kept hearing is, "Who's your daddy, boy?" I'm like, "What? Who you talking to, sir?"
What?
Yeah, because I'm a light skinned guy, so
But
I
What does
guess it
that have
was
to do with it?
I would have asked you the same
because
thing.
I don't know.
but but but
Actually,
but no, that's the culture of it back in the day, Birmingham. That's really how the old folks would talk to you. That's the first thing they say is who your mom and them is, or who your dad and them is. They trying to figure out, and it's very interesting. You said that housing. You said you're fair complected. Birmingham has like a, and me and Wani's talked about this, and me not Wani Nicky's talked about this. Birmingham has always had a black upper middle class. Why? Well, it had a black upper middle class because in the 1800s, Europeans discovered there's iron ore, a whole bunch of iron in the mountain in Birmingham, and Sloss Furnace um, was built in Birmingham, which made most of the steel for America. People don't know this shit. I'm gonna tell Wani something real funny. It's gonna make sense. So Birmingham had a steel mill, and the timing of Sloss Furnace, the steel mill being built, just coincided with emancipation. So they needed a lot. America needed steel, and you had a whole bunch of free black men. So for a brief moment in time, black men and poor white members of the Georgia Corporation had jobs. So black men, even though we were making less, we had enough money to buy houses, and a black upper middle class kind of emerged in Birmingham. Wani, why I was gonna say that's funny is y'all have never heard of Birmingham Steel Mill, because when you think of America Steel, you think of Pittsburgh, right? Well,
right,
pick,
Philadelphia. I mean, PA.
what's
Yes,
the name of the ball, the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? That's an
yes.
inside joke because Pittsburgh stole the steel industry from Birmingham, so we stole that shit. Pittsburgh.
Are you speaking of Andrew Carnegie,
Yes, sir. Yes,
professor,
sir. Yes, sir.
So you feeling
and
some
how
kind of
we
way
got
about
some of
that, huh,
our
It
Professor?
fucked us up,
informations?
but how it ties into you housing is a black upper middle class kind of elite emerged, and most of them were real light skinned, real fair complected, and so in Birmingham, back in the day, if you were walking around and you were high yellow, people wanted to know who you were. Like, are you one of them?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, buddy.
Because I never
Look,
got that
professor.
question in New
Nope.
York, and the way he was addressing me, I wasn't feeling that. You know, where I come from, you don't talk to nobody like that. Who's your daddy, boy? You
Yeah, he's
know?
trying to find out if you had one of them Negroes with money.
What up, fam?
Hey, professor.
Okay,
This
Professor.
this is when I hate agreeing with these poor whites when it comes down to certain issues, because all all things do point to these major corporations like Carnegie Steel and J.P. Morgan and the Rockefeller oil company, which you know what I'm saying. It so happened at the end of Reconstruction, these dudes just end up being rich and taking over a lot of FBA land.
Yep. Yep. That's no cap. That needs to be a space all in itself. There's a lot of history there. And a lot of the elitism. One more little spill on Birmingham. Birmingham got offered every deal in contract that Atlanta got. Guys, y'all know Birmingham was supposed to be Atlanta, but the corporate wealth pulled out of Birmingham because they were killing little girls in my home church. They didn't want their money there when dudes was blowing little girls up in my home church at 16th Street. So they said, nah. So Atlanta was kind of like sloppy seconds. But the point of me bringing that up is all the elitism you see in Atlanta is a spillover from Birmingham. So Birmingham's a very interesting dynamic that nobody really talks about. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see what Spanish Dominican King has to say. Good evening, Spanish Dominican, or should I say good morning? What's on
Hey, how
your
you
mind?
doing?
Hola, ganera, mano.
How you
Dime
doing?
paisa. Dímelo.
All right, come on, Spanish.
I'm not Mexican. I'm a white Dominican.
Okay.
Dime paisa.
Okay.
¿Qué lo que? Dímelo.
All right,
And
Gato.
what would you
all
Gato.
like?
right, Mr. Dominican King, what's on your mind?
No, the name of the space is very interesting. What does white mean? Has Europe always been inhabited by Europeans? And to answer the question, to me, just white we just means anybody who is not African
Hmm. So you said you're Spanish. What'd you say your lineage was, sir?
from Spain.
But you said you're from Dominican, right?
Yeah, my ancestors were the colonizers of the DR.
Prove it.
You
Yeah.
Yo,
mean the bastard babies of the
yo, he's
colonizers?
an imposter, Professor.
We already know.
So you're
Spanish people wouldn't shit on you.
are you aware of the history of the Dominican Republic, sir?
Yes, I am aware of it.
Educate me.
Mm-hmm.
We were colonized by the Spanish, and
Pause.
we had a war with Haiti. We kicked them out of our side of the island.
Oh, the Spanish and the French.
What a
Don't forget.
dump.
That's not what I heard, but go
Where y'all
ahead.
kick Haiti out
We
of? They in
kicked them
Haiti right
out.
now.
They were being very oppressive. We kicked them out, and yeah, that's where we are today.
Why are they so oppressive?
Well, I heard different. I heard that from somebody who's a scholar who grew up in Haiti. I heard that when the Haitians won their well, they didn't win shit. When they snatched, they got them
Took their
independent.
independence.
Yeah, when they snatched it from the French and kicked the French ass out, members of the Haitian island that didn't want to be associated with the darkies ran to the other island to be closer to the Europeans. So I was taught by somebody from Haiti that the DR was created in diametric opposition to black people running the other side of the island. Is that true?
To a certain degree.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Oh my God, you really told the truth? Wait a minute. I'm going to need to take medication. Somebody told the truth. Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, yeah, we don't want to live under Haitian dominion. We don't want to live under that
Why? Why was that a problem?
because they were oppressive. Look at how Haiti is today.
They
If it
they
was so
eat people.
good, if it was so good, they would have been better off than DR, but they're not.
Hmm.
The reason why Haiti is the way it is today has a lot to do with white supremacy. It has nothing to do with the people in DR. It's
Haiti is still
strictly,
in debt to France. That's why it looks like that.
again, it happens. There's a lot to do with white
White
supremacy
supremacy is the reason why they in
at
debt.
the end of the day. So the
I don't think it has
Dominicans,
anything to do with white supremacy because the vast majority of the Haitians are black. There is hardly any white people in Haiti left over there.
What? Which I agree with you. There is a French element, but you said you're 100. You're pure Spanish, right?
No, I'm not pure Spanish. No,
you
Oh,
say you from Spain.
okay. I misunderstood you.
I'm white passing, but
I
I'm
didn't
not
know.
black
I never
though.
knew a Dominican that's from Spain.
Man, he
Oh,
Caucasian. That's why I
I
get all
already
confused when he
He's a
say
know.
Spanish
Caucasian.
bastard that was left on the
We knew
island.
he was pretending to be
Paisa, you
Spanish.
freestyling, Paisa. Where
I'm
you from?
actually
You where
I'm
you? Hold
actually
on, time out, Paisa. Where you from, Manhattan? Let's keep it funky. Where you from?
New Jersey.
Oh,
You
Lord.
know you from New York. You know you from New York.
He's from Jersey?
I'm from New Jersey. Yeah.
Where in
You're
Jersey?
not saying it right.
He probably Puerto Rican.
You have
No,
to say
listen.
Jersey.
No, he's Dominican.
He's a
He's
faker.
Yeah,
Dominican.
you're not from Jersey, man.
Beep,
And
You're
beep,
not
listen,
beep.
from Jersey, man. What part of
he ain't
Jersey
from
you
Alert.
Brick
from, man?
City. He ain't from Patterson. He's
No,
right
you
from
ain't
the
from
BX.
Davenport either, man. Where you from in Jersey, man?
I'm from Port Newark.
Horton
No,
Newark.
yo, listen, he's from right. He's probably from
It's
Hamilton, man,
corny.
in Manhattan, Upper Manhattan. That's where he's from.
Okay.
You can keep,
No, but to get back to the topic though,
but why? Let me ask you a
I'm a
So
question.
he's
Dominican.
Why are you
Leviticus
I'm
so
not
Cabana.
ashamed?
I'm
This is
not
this,
black. I don't look
but
black though. I
let
don't
me
look
ask
black.
you a question. Why are you so ashamed to tell somebody where you from? This is Tyreek words. Why are you so
I just
ashamed?
told you I'm from Jersey.
You're not from Jersey. You're
You
from New
not from
York.
Jersey, sir.
You're from New York.
You're
No, I'm
not
not
even
from New
from New
York. I
York.
don't
You
live
from
there.
Spain.
No,
You
he's a
already told us.
Dominicano Cabana that flee from Castro.
Man, we don't know where this nigga from.
Let's go back
Paisa.
to the topic though.
All right. Go
Paisa.
ahead and land your plane Spanish.
Yeah, so you guys feel like Dominicans, they don't want to be associated with blackness, but the thing is that they're not pure black though. They're mulattoes. They're mixed. So for you guys to say things like, "Oh, they're denying their blackness," well,
We're
You
not
guys,
saying that.
you guys are
We don't
denying your
want you.
whiteness too, because a lot
No,
of Black
listen.
Americans are
We're
mixed with
not saying
Europeans as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
we're not
No one
saying
said
that.
that.
You're in the
No
yeah,
one
wrong
yeah.
said
room.
that.
People have said
First and
that. People
foremost,
have
first and
said
foremost,
that.
we've never said that. That's none of our concern. We don't concern ourselves with other groups. So I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
you come in the room just saying things. That's what you're doing.
He
That's
just
all you're
like the
doing. You're just
vibes.
That's
He
saying
like the
fine.
things.
vibes, and when melanated people are talking
We
together.
no Pan African. No Pan African.
I,
I don't agree
Who
with Pan
said that?
Africanism. I
Who
don't
said
agree
that?
with
Hey,
it.
yo, Bobby, we
hey,
black, man. We
yo,
black, okay? We in
nobody,
the black,
to
okay?
my knowledge, nobody in here is a Pan Africanist. I'm gonna suggest you find a room where
Yeah, no Pan African, papi.
your thoughts
I
We the
don't
can
want
be
no
black.
appreciated.
pancakes. I don't want no pancakes right now, Professor. Tell him that.
I kicked him out. I don't honestly, with all due respect, I don't know what that dude's talking about. I don't know what he's talking
Professor,
about.
he's from the city. He's from Manhattan, Professor.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
He's one of those confused
I don't even
individuals
care
that
anymore. He can just go.
Me too. We're gonna go to Prince. Did you have a chance to talk? Prince, did you speak yet, bro?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Oh,
piece.
okay. Well, then Cheryl and then Capone. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Hey, Cheryl.
Um, I was just wondering. Okay, when you talk about white people, right? I have just always wondered. Um, I mean, where did they come from? Because one time the whole world was black. So what happened? I mean, was it really the Ice Age or?
Well, that's a that may be a Wani question, but if you're talking about the the term white came into existence during the I'm not the exploration and conquering of the new world. I threw up just a little bit in my mouth for saying that.
Okay,
So basically
I'm
that
talking about like non-melanated people then.
yes, well, it's more complicated
There's a
than that.
lot of mutations that have happened and are continuing to happen, and they just have a lot of the mutations together, which has created a certain look.
10 for a Koofy time.
Sorry, my take. You have a lot of mutations.
So what
What
Wani
were the
said is a more in
I keep
depth.
laughing.
was the mutation due to like weather or?
No, they
I have a 10
say
for a
it
Koofy
is,
theory.
but it is not. I
Okay.
disagree because other people live up there and they didn't mutate.
Right, like the
And
Inuits, like
there's no reason to mutate to go along with the weather because you need to have melanin no matter where you live. In the cold, you still have all those bright UV rays. So there would be no benefit to get light. So this is a mutation. It doesn't have to make sense. Just like the boys in the Solomon Island and some girls too. They
Uh-huh.
have just all of a sudden they just have blonde hair. That's one gene mutation where the people in Sweden have a lot of gene mutations which cause them to have that color hair. So it's different mutations. And no, I mean the Melanesians live in warm weather and all of a sudden they popped up with blonde hair. Now when we didn't know better, we thought, hey, some explorer came through and ran through the whole tribe. But no, it's a gene mutation. They
Oh,
have
okay.
very strange colors of hair. They have a crazy red color, they have an orange color, and they have a blonde color, and they have the brown skin to go with it.
now what Wani just said is like a genetic scientific analysis. Um, but my take is different. I'm talking about the term white. Now,
Mhm.
to help you understand the term white, let's think about World War II. Sure, I'm gonna mute you right quick 'cause your TV's on. But in World War II, the America joined forces with England to attack Germany, right? So we called England allies. That one term united us on an objective to win World War II. Got it? So that same tactic was done when Europeans, such as the English, the French, the Italians, and even non Europeans, we call them Japanese, they unified together to attack us. That is the same concept where the word white came from, because the French and the English were killing each other. They were fighting. The Spanish were killing. They all these Europeans were in bloody warfare against each other. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, a big part of the transatlantic slave trade, the sale of human beings, was to build money so the Spanish could buy weapons to kill other Europeans. When they got over here and saw a whole new landmass that they could conquer that was full, already jam packed, full of what's the word? Proto Austronesian. I don't know what word to use now, Wani.
The word we're using now, after I forced everybody to tell me the correct words, which we had to make up our words. They keep changing it. They have about 8 names for people that look like Negritos or people in Australia. So their name is Austral Melanesians.
Yes.
Austral Australo. Australo. You have to gargle to say it now.
So the ancestral, I'm gonna try it. Australo-Melanesian. Basically, it,
Mm-hmm.
it was black folk over here. A whole fucking bunch of us. Matter of fact, I don't believe this bullshit that most of us came off that ship. I think we were already here, and a small percentage of us came off that ship. My point is, when them Europeans who were killing each other, French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, when they came over here, they said, "Oh damn, we can just kill these people and take over their land." So just like World War II, just like the Americans, the Canadians, and the English became the Allied forces, these groups of Europeans became white.
Can I give you my new tinfoil
Go
cover
ahead.
theory? What if a Arab went into Asia and fucked a monkey and made white
I
people?
don't. You know what? I don't know. And I was going to ask the origin of the genetic alteration that gave those characteristics. I can't get a clear answer. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said it was diet. As a physician, I'm not a medical doctor. I am not, nor do I profess to be. But Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who was a board certified medical doctor, she said, and I'm paraphrasing her a little bit, but she said if you eat something over time, it can genetically alter you. So she argued that it's a possibility that the diet in Europe changed during the Younger Dryas, the Ice Age, and the diet changed so extremely that mutations came about. But I don't know if somebody knows where that alteration came from. Let me know. That's I've always been curious about that.
So a big head Ethiopian or Somali got stuck in the
Yeah,
Caucasus
that's what
Mountains.
Welsing said, and she said they ate. Actually, Welsing said they were eating something in Africa, and which caused. This is her words exactly, which caused the genetic alteration called albinism, and they got cast out of Africa. But I don't. That's just a theory. I don't know if it's true. When you find out, let me know because I want to know.
Hey, Professor, but wasn't it also saying that that's where the mad scientists came from too?
Yeah, there goes that
Baku.
Yakub
Yeah,
theory.
Yaku. They said that's where Yaku
Okay.
was was switching. I mean, constantly repeating. Uh, what's that term when you constantly?
You talking about the Ethiopian with vitiligo?
No, when you constantly uh breed light skinned people,
Yeah,
the
Clone.
lighter ones, the lighter
Yeah.
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
They
The Scott.
yes.
The refresher
I've heard
generation.
scholars talk about that theory. That's interesting. The theory that Hausen's talking about is there was a science experiment where they were trying to create another group of man, and what they did was breed the brown to the brown. So they would find two brown Africans and breed them together. And when that child came out, they would breed that child with over time they became lighter and lighter and turn into something else. There is some, if you want to call it, let's say text to support that. It was a pyramid in Egypt called the Temple of Seti One, and the Temple of Seti One had the Tamahu. It had the a mural or hieroglyphic of the different types of man, and the last man in that lineage was called the Tamahu, which was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person. And according to Bobby Hemmett, um, the metanetter, which the Europeans renamed hieroglyphics, said the Europeans had an apology. They said, according to Bobby Hemmett, the Europeans said the worst thing they did was to create another man. If this is true or not, I don't know. You want to know why? Because in the 30s, maybe it's the 20s, in the 20s, which is an interesting time because the 20s is when Rockefeller took over education, took over medicine, and at University of Chicago, which was paid for by Rockefeller, the same place where the nuclear weapon was perfected. Um, Started an institution that's still in Egypt called the University of Chicago. You look it up, University of Chicago Egypt Foundation or whatever. They have like a school over there. And around in those same times, the Temple of Seti One with all that information, all those hieroglyphics, was flooded. How the fuck does a pyramid flood in the desert? I don't know, but the information was lost. Wink, wink, nod, nod. What?
And also,
Would
a
you consider
professor.
that ancient desert
But
eugenics?
also, let me add on to that. They said it got so bad it scared the people itself, and they chased them away. And they said they chased them to the Caucasus Mountains. These are just rumors.
There
And
is
this
some hardcore there's some hardcore scholarship to back that up. There,
Wait,
and listen,
let me
this is
ask a
where the dog
question.
was created. The dog was because they said they used to hunt them down because they said they had to kill them
Let
because they
me.
was
go
evil.
go ahead, Wani.
You
Yeah, those
said
supposed to be the
chase.
Oh,
people that
You
damn one
said chase into the Caucasus. Did they say chase from where?
from Africa.
That's not their migration pattern. So
But this is just sayings. That's all,
I
woman.
know, but I still want to make sure that because we're gonna hunt them down. We're gonna we're gonna find
who
out.
would that? I
I'm
mean,
Well,
not.
I will
I'm
say
not
but
this is
doing
a
any.
non-violent space. She means that
but
metaphorically.
I mean, in the books.
Metaphorically,
hey, Wani,
allegedly.
hey,
Metaphorically,
Wani,
allegedly.
listen. And this is where they said this is where the dog was most protected when they use the term the dog's best friend, because it protect the evil ones, because the dogs can hear and they'll let them know when they come to get them. That's why the dog. That's why they use that term. Dog is the man's best friend.
I'm
They said
listening.
that's where that came from the caves.
I'm listening to all the myths and stories, and when
And you
one of them
and
has
you
the
gonna put them
right,
together?
when one of them has the right migration patterns, then I'm going to pay attention. But I still like Yakub. I ain't gonna lie.
it sounds like Housing talking about them people that Moses
I
freed
still like
and he tried
Yakub
to blow
because
them
I
up.
know his big head made something. I don't know what it was. It did something.
Black, what you say, Black?
I said it sounds like that Moses story that they was pushing earlier in the NOI when they were still under the white
Right,
Persians and
dancing in the
I
mud
can't
pits and shit.
yeah they were talking about Moses had got them out of Europe and brought them back to civilization and he had to blow them up. That's why he was up there
Blow him
in
up.
the mountains instead of down there with them.
They got blown
Like
up.
look,
They had
yeah
explosives back
I
then,
guess he
Black.
Yeah, the
blew them up.
Lord came
Man.
down with a fire tornado.
Oh wow, that's not right.
Oh no, it was supposed to be when
I believe it was
Moses had
aliens,
went up
though.
and got the Ten
Most
Commandments and
likely.
he
well,
came back
well,
and seen
Hey,
they
I
was
well,
used to
well,
watch
well
worshiping
that
all
on
the
the Bible
gods,
stories
so
when I
he
was
blew
younger,
their ass
bro.
up.
that's where it gets really interesting, gentlemen, is because the um uh Moses was Tutmosis and he was an Egyptian, and Tutmosis was responsible for defining the Ark of the Covenant, which was a weapon.
And remember, Freud got all up in their butts and said that's where the idea of one God comes from. It comes from, you know, Akhenaten.
I mean, on Mythbusters, they had an episode about it on how he could have made the little fire or a little bomb to make them scatter. So
That's when the Red
They
that,
Sea
that
scattered.
opened up and all
Well,
that.
well, the fire little bomb. Now, this is not metaphysics. This is not woo woo or mythology. This is real. There's evidence of this to this day. Graham Hancock outlines it in Sign and Seal. The Ark of the Covenant, whatever that is a thing of fire. So Tutmosis, an Egyptian, had the Ark of the Covenant, and Moses was associated with a certain group of people. And allegedly, he used that Ark of the Covenant to destroy enemies. Now, that sounds like woo woo, right? But they've traced the Ark of the Covenant back to a little town in not what's the name, begins with a, it's in Ethiopia. God dang it, I can't think of the name of it.
I forget the name, but that guy did say it's a thing of
It's a
fire.
thing of fire,
Yeah.
and
Lolly
Like Indiana
it,
Jones.
that shit is exactly what it is, bro. And
You talking
I
about
can't
Lolly
think of the
Bali?
name of that fucking town. I want to say Tulum, but that's in Mexico. But I forget the name of. But anyway, uh, there it
Where is it at now,
in
Professor?
Ethiopia, in a town in Ethiopia in the middle of nowhere with no roads, elaborate buildings. Graham Hancock went there and said, "How in the fuck are these buildings built? There are no roads here. These are beautiful buildings." But long story short, the Nazis sent a whole battalion of men looking for that shit, just like in Indiana Jones. This is well documented.
Mhm.
And they went looking for it to that little town, and the whole battalion was never heard from again. Well, Graham Hancock went in the early 90s looking for it. It's a long story, but I'm going to condense it as small as I can. Graham is in a town unaccessible by anything. So Graham bribed an Ethiopian Air Force pilot to drop them off in the middle of nowhere. He had a couple hours to see it, rode out on camelback, horseback to find it, went to a small church in the middle of nowhere full of elaborate buildings that were built. He was like, well, how the fuck was this building built? There are no roads here. Well, and the people, the Oscar, not the, what's the name of them? The Falashas, they, which are Jews, I think. The Falashas said the little people helped us. What the fuck does that mean? Well, anyway, Graham went and met with the,
Toi.
he did no comment, don't question mark. Well, anyway, Graham went to a little church where it was where the Ark of the Covenant was supposed to be, and he said he on his way there, nobody was there, but an old man met him and said, "An old man," he said it hit him in his mouth like the smell, like a familiar smell. He's like frankincense. This old man smelled like frankincense, and the man was like, "Why are you here?" And he started telling him, "I'm looking for the Ark." He's like, "The Ark here?" He's like, "Yes." And the old man introduced himself as a member of an ancient fraternity who was, and then other old men in similar clothing started coming out of nowhere, and they all lined up, and we're all the members of the same fraternity. And the old man said, "We're a member of an ancient fraternity who picked in our 60s and 70s and sworn to protect people from the ark." And Graham said, he called himself, he said, "What the fuck?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Sir, you made a mistake. Don't you mean to protect the ark from people?" And the man said, "No. We're here to protect people from the ark." Graham said that little bitty church was not guarded, not a single guard around. And he said at that moment he looked in the man's eyes and saw skin cancer was breaking out all over his face, and his eyeballs were burnt white. And he looked at the rest of the men, and they had skin cancer all over their face, and their eyeballs were burnt white. So I think is Tutmosis was an Egyptian, and he was helping a certain group of people with that ark, which is a weapon. What type is it? Spiritual? No comment. But I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think it's alien technology, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
You know most of
What
them.
do you mean
Well,
by
What does
alien,
it
though,
do?
sir? What is alien? What do you mean?
I think that the Egyptians were hyper advanced, and it's some type of technology that we're not allowed to know about.
Professor, the way the pyramids is lined up to the stars in the space. Do you know that?
Yeah, yeah, it's perfection. We could talk about that for a whole space.
And no scientist on Earth could explain how this was achieved.
And the ark has something to do with that. I think a lot is not being told to us, but the Ark of the Covenant is exactly where it's been for thousands of years. And the governments all across the world has learned to leave it the hell alone because Hitler sent a fucking battalion of Italian men and with German leadership to go get it, and they never came back. What
We need your boy. We need your boy Bobby Herman, man. Where he at?
man, I would love to talk to him, but
I know he got kind of sick for a while, so I don't
you
know what's going
yeah,
on
man.
now.
you know most of them scenes on Indiana Jones was shot over here in America in the desert, in California, Arizona, and Nevada. So I I do believe the story have a lot of validity because it remind me of the little story that the Hindus have of Krishna and the little uh, power ride they had in the
Right.
nuclear war they had, and it is like evidence. They done proved that it was some type of nuclear bomb that been dropped there
Yeah,
before
it's a fucking crater
long
over
ago.
there in India that is a mile by a mile in the middle and people it's not a comet because they went a comet or a meteor because they went looking for fragments, couldn't find them. The evidence is overwhelming people. There's a place called oh Lord, my mind. What's it called?
Not Dwarka.
What's it called?
Not Dwarka, right?
Where all the dead bodies are still there.
Oh no, you talking about
What's the name of it? I can't say it.
you know,
It's a place in Pakistan now
yeah,
where there's a city. It's still standing. Nobody talks about this, but it's still standing,
right.
and it has bodies that are well preserved. Animals wouldn't eat them because they're fucking radioactive. And
Mm-hmm.
the people died like it's a man,
It's like
just
Pompeii,
like Pompeii.
only over in what you call it,
Yep, they're
Pakistan.
holding hands like they. It's like they saw a flash or something brilliant, and then it took them out.
Is it called
Daro, that's
Mohenjo
it.
Daro?
Yes, it is.
Mohendaro, right? It's still there, and
Is that place off limits?
Professor,
no, you can go see
Professor,
it, but the bodies are still
No, you
fucking
can see it.
radioactive.
Professor, when you were talking about the place in Egypt,
Uh-huh.
when they saw the men, were they ancient Egypts like black or were
Oh
they,
yeah, they were
you know?
black men, all sworn to protect people from the ark. I guess people kind of just walk up and stumble upon it and want to look, and it doesn't like that or something. But this, and it
We
turned
need
out
to
that
talk about this.
what?
We need to talk about this.
Oh yeah.
This
And
art
Awani and
is
Indiana Jones, when they opened it, fire came up out of
Yep.
that
so they
in the
said it was a
movie.
thing of fire, but it's
Yeah.
basically killing everybody that's watching it.
Yes.
And what is it doing? Didn't they say it was making manna for people to eat? Well, we don't need
Well,
that. We can get power shakes. Why is it burning everybody's eyeballs
well,
out?
Graham says it kicks out sparks, like it likes people.
Why?
Nobody knows. Is it? Well, according to biblical canon, it has order has angels in it. The order cherubim, like the little
A
baby.
bunch of mean angels spitting on people? What is
I don't know
happening?
what that means. I would like to believe that it's ancient technology. Maybe it's spiritual technology. Who knows?
They can't wait. They
Is it
said
any
there was.
books on this, Professor?
Signing the seal, my friend.
No, wait a
Huh?
minute. Why is my take laughing at all these violent angel stories? Now listen, it said they had angels in there.
Yeah, a cherubim, the little baby angel.
Why would they, you know what, those cherubim are really that's like false advertising because they were like tall and guarding the gate.
Of the Garden of
So
Eden,
how did
right?
they yeah, how did they turn into tiny babies with
I
wings
think
when they were
Europeans did that. I heard a story about that.
Europeans messed stuff up. My take, your people are very abusive. I mean, one minute they're guarding the gate and Adam and Eve are kicked the fuck out. Don't come back, ho. And they're tall and then they're floating babies. Like, what are you guys doing?
Well, Wani, I'm not on this space talk about the floating baby theory, but I've tracked that down, and apparently, well, you know, in Greco-Roman history, how little boys were. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, they like to date toddlers. I know they do.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that, but you know where I'm
So,
going.
so Professor, do you think them little churches in India like in Angkor Rock can really fly?
I think it's a lot of shit people aren't talking about, and let me give you a good
The
example.
anchor wat I don't think can fly. That is some heavy ass stone. So I can't picture that flying.
Well, I'll tell you a really interesting story that's factual. When I was studying at Georgetown, I didn't finish there, but I worked at the Smithsonian Institution. Is one of the coolest fucking jobs I've ever had. One of these days, I'm gonna have a space on that. But I was stationed at the Smithsonian Museum of the Native American. It was brand new back then. But when the museum was low on staff, it was a really hard process to get clearance to work there. But when somebody was sick or something, they would move us around. And they moved us to move me one night to the Museum of Natural History. It was my favorite museum. My grandmother lived in DC, and I would always go to the Museum of Natural History to see the Hope Diamond. But for years going to see grandma, it would be a big line around the diamond. Like I couldn't even see it. So the crowd was so big. Well, being an employee of the Smithsonian, the Smithsonian never closes. In fact, George W. Bush would have parties and shit in the Smithsonian with Swedish colonels. It was really cool after hours. Well, with my ID, I had clearance to go in the Smithsonian after hours because it never closed. They had armed guards with fucking MP5s like Navy SEALs there. Well,
Right to this day,
oh hell yeah,
Professor?
Smithsonian has its own police department, and they are fucking armed, buddy. They got submachine guns. They not playing. Well, I went in the Museum of Natural History after hours to see the Hope Diamond, and I walk in there. It was a old black man guide there, and a couple of armed security guards guarding that diamond. And I was walking up on it, and it was like pulsating like a fucking LED or something. I was looking around for what light was shining on it. And the old black man guard said, ha, ha. He said, "You looking for a light on you?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Where's the light?" He said, "There is no light. The shit was glowing by itself." And
It's cursed.
he told me, he said, "Son, you know the story?" I was like, "No, sir." He said, "Check this out." He said the British royalty, story has it, British royalty saw it in the head of one of those statues over there in India and stole it. And the moment they got back to Britain, the royal person, the prince, died, and he gave it to another duke, duchess, or whatever. And the moment they got it, they came down with severe cancer. They gave it to another member, and that member died. So they said, "We don't want shit to do with it." So they sold it at a discounted price to one of the Carnegies or Rockefellers, one of them families. The moment they got it, one of them fucking died. And they got the message and said, "We don't want shit to do with it." So they donated it to the federal government to be in the Smithsonian, right? Well, they had a postman. This was in Philadelphia. They had a postman, a black man, get on the train. He didn't know what he was getting. He drove to the front of I think it was a Carnegie's, their mansion, and picked up a box. He had no clue was in it, and his orders were to ride with it until he dropped it off at the Museum of Natural History in the D.C. He rode with it on the train, dropped that motherfucker off, and got back on the train and had a massive heart attack. Like we're playing with things we don't understand.
That thing is cursed. I brought my take on the stage because we mentioned the royal family who ripped everybody off. And I want her to give her opinion on the Queen of England that died. What were your thoughts about the Queen, milady?
But wouldn't she be like more closer to the Queen of Scotland, like
Yeah, that's
Ireland?
what I'm just trying to,
Thank you for
because,
the reference to the Queen of Scotland. She
mm-hmm,
actually was the Queen of England as well.
mm-hmm,
She was the
mm-hmm,
Queen of the UK,
yes.
but she's
So,
dead.
what are your thoughts on that person ruling your island?
She's dead.
That's not what I'm getting at.
The Queen's dead.
I'm aware of her being
So
dead,
what are
ma'am.
you getting at?
When
Is
she wasn't,
actually your point?
what did you think about her when she wasn't dead?
The Queen's dead. So what is your point?
Now, did you feel that she was English?
No,
Oh, good.
no, she
Good,
wasn't English. She
good
was British.
answer. No, 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 no. Now you fell off the cliff again.
Did she
No,
say
no, no, no.
Turkish?
She was
She said
British, not
Brit.
English. If you're not, I did. Where do you live?
She wasn't British or English. What was she? Think hard
She
now.
was. I'm sorry. She was British.
Come on, you can do it. What was
Don't be
she?
patronising.
Did
Sorry.
you really say Bonnie? Did you really say she patronizing you while you sat down there throwing thumbs
No,
down?
she is patronising. The Queen
Okay,
was
let me.
not.
Not what?
Come on. What are you saying?
I didn't say anything. I was asking you.
She
She
asked you
was
what was your
not
take on the
What
queen.
English.
exactly are you
She
asking?
wasn't. She wasn't English, and she wasn't British. So what was
No,
she?
she's not. She wasn't English.
She
Do
was or
you
wasn't?
understand at all the concept of the British Isles? Really, you don't.
Was the woman English? Yes or no?
She was born English, yes.
Okay.
Was she the Queen of England?
Was
No,
she English?
no.
She's talking about lineage, her creed.
Oh my goodness, you're trying to tell a British person.
Look, somebody's got to do it. You guys got
Oh my
Africans over there
goodness.
claiming to be
Is
Irish,
this
and
your
you're sitting
game?
up there smiling.
Seriously. Is this this
If
pathetic?
a
Is this
Niger
is
if a
getting?
Ni- shh. If a Nigerian goes over to Scotland, are they Scottish?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hello.
What was the question?
If a Nigerian moves over to Scotland, which all of them did, are they Scottish?
No, they're Nigerian. They're Africans. Malcolm X said if a cat has kittens in an oven, that don't make her kittens biscuits. People act like they crazy.
So I'm just wondering, and I'm glad I have my take up here. This is why your little island is a big bunch of shit, and that's why uh, Europe is a big bunch of shit because you don't even understand your own race. The Queen of England is not English or British. She's German, goofball. Why do you have a German woman and her family ruling your dumb ass?
Well,
Because
you
you're
know,
drunk?
Auntie,
Y'all
ever
are
since the
drunk.
potato famine,
They're
Ireland and
drunk.
Scotland haven't seen to make about.
They're drunk. That's why they let this stuff happen.
Let's talk about the Infinity Stone, Professor.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not ready to move on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wani. I'm sorry. I thought you was done. Go ahead, chew it up.
So, my take, why
She
do you
won't.
have a German queen?
She won't talk. Why was your this woman ruling your country a German woman with her German family ruling your not German country? What's up with that? Why do you have Nigerians running around calling themselves Scottish, in Irish, in British, in English, in any other thing that comes out of their mouth? Do you know how this thing works?
Yeah,
I think
people
I,
people
I
act
think
like
I
they
killed her.
got uh, cognitive dissonance. All right, we're gonna give a couple more speakers and we're gonna call it a day.
You
Um,
two pieced her, Wani.
I
She's
think she's
dizzy right
searching for
now.
the rainbow,
Yeah,
the
you
pot
two
of gold.
pieced her.
I didn't mean to. I
Yeah,
just
you
wanted
made
to
her
be.
dizzy.
I know. I know she's drinking some more right now.
She said, "What's the bloody she's talking about? She's Britain. She's not German."
and
She is. They know she changed her name so she could trick this lame brain into believing she's the Queen of England.
She just wanted some soul pool and potatoes.
Hey,
Mm,
Wani,
mm,
you
mm.
ever noticed that carriage that they ride in? Have you ever looked at it closely?
No, tell us about it.
It's a bunch of slaves on there.
Oh, wow. Makes sense. They have the people in some of those
That
Melanesian
gold,
island
yes,
carrying them around.
that gold carriage that they in. If I get a picture, I'm gonna send it to you. I think I
White
have it.
people do not get outraged enough. I had a white woman to say this. This is a comment the white woman made. She saw the island people carrying them around. You know what I'm talking about. They go over there and they carry them
Yes,
around. She
yes.
said, "Oh, are they still doing that?"
Wow.
That's their level of outrage. It's like, "Oh, that looks racist. Are they still doing that?" It's not a
Whoa.
lot of outrage.
So she knew about it all the while.
Yeah, she knew that that was ignorant and racist, and she was kind of shocked that they would still do that.
Yeah. But that Infinity Stone professor had me a little fascinated. People was literally dying, touching it, huh?
Yeah, I was up here talking through a mute. Yeah, it's real talk. We'll talk about that in another space because I think y'all want to know about. I keep saying I'm gonna do it and forget. Let's hear what Jimmy James has to say, and no cap will have last words.
I just want to say, so Paul and potatoes, my tick.
Oh,
Go ahead, Jimmy James.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, it's me. Call him. I'm on night shift, graveyard, going hard. I was just gonna say, when Sister Wani asked about the dude leading from Britain, but he's really German. To answer the question at the top, when they say, "What does white mean?" That's what it means right there. You can just get drunk. You can just get drunk. Don't care who leading your country. It don't matter. Long as he white. Don't care if you from another nationality. You over here leading another nation. It don't matter. Long as your skin white. Don't care. I'm gonna just get drunk and not even give a damn. Land my plane.
Well, you know, the Queen brought us potatoes from the Indians in America, and we've been grateful ever since.
All right, no cap. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, Professor Wani and Nikki the God. I wanted to touch on the Spanish Inquisition as far as there was a pivotal point where that was the start of systematic racism by the implementation of those blood purity laws. Would you expound on that, Professor?
The Spanish say that one more time.
well,
The Spanish.
that might need to be a new room.
Yeah, go
You
say
can
that topic one more time.
do up the stock.
What do you want to know
Uh,
about the Spanish Inquisition?
well, during the Spanish Inquisition, they implemented, how do you say it? La Panza de Sangre, which was a cleanliness of blood, which was a blood purity law, which they used to deny that people had a Christian ancestry or lineage. And they built laws based on that as a system of denial. And
Well,
most,
yeah, I know
yes,
what you're talking about. The Spanish Inquisition was a big finesse. So during the Spanish Inquisition, the Catholic Church, and I'm not talking about the Catholic Church now. I'm talking about the Catholic Church then, um, came up with a system called indulgences, where they raised money. You had to pay money for the priest to pray for your dead one. Like they would say, "Hey, no cap, your uncle's dead. He passed away. I'm sorry. But if you give us $200 or whatever the amount was, we'll pray for his soul. Because if we don't pray for him, he's in purgatory. He's not going to make it to heaven." So people that worked for a little while, and then people were like, fuck this. I'm not paying them for that.
As long as you're not white.
Hey, lady, I am blocking you. I'm sick of you.
No, I'm sorry, but the whole fucking thing is
Don't
about
block her
Is
yet,
everything is
is
Professor.
she
fine
I wanted to
mad?
unless
ask her
you're
a
Don't
white.
question.
block her
Just
yet.
don't block her
I'm
just yet.
Uh,
Tibetan.
Is she
what's
mad?
wrong?
Please don't block her.
Okay, I won't block her. All right, all right. They
Can you
saved
tell
you,
me what
ma'am.
she's
They
saying?
saved you, ma'am. So say thank you to
What is
them.
she
I
saying?
don't know, but anyway, my point is, this Spanish Inquisition, basically people got sick of that finesse and was like, fuck that, I'm not paying the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church came up with a group of snitches to go around to see who wasn't Catholic, who wasn't praying. They were looking for who people who were in the Jewish faith and otherwise. And if they found you, they penalized you. So, long story short, that during the Inquisition, a lot of categories were created. According to some scholars, the category of black as a pejorative was created during the Inquisition because they considered you black if you weren't paying your indulgences. So, my point is, brother, no cap, is a lot of ugly little categorization systems came out of that period Catholic Church during the Spanish Inquisition.
definitely, definitely. While I was looking into the Spanish Inquisition, I found that there were a lot of black people, people of North African descent that they had referred to as Moors. And those people would hide out in the caves of Granada. And actually, they, for a while, did tours around those caves, showing how the people lived their lives and made trade amongst each other, weaving baskets. Sound familiar? Um, the thing is, uh, that's where a lot of the slave trade started from. Like as far as the expelling of the black people that were there.
Well, it's a
Uh,
reason. It's a reason why the slave trade started with that era of the Catholic Church. It started because
The Catholic Church is fucking off, fucking cuts.
watch your language,
Oh,
man. It's it's
yeah, excuse
it
me. The Catholic Church are not very nice.
yeah, yeah, okay. Thank you. Well, the in 14, I think 1401, 1402, when Europeans were they got the technology to start
Can I
exploring.
ask you what you mean by Europeans?
Well, the technology when they got the technology to go to different places, where Vasco da Gama went across the globe, et cetera, et cetera. A group of Europeans went to North Africa looking for a Christian. See,
Europeans are not a race.
Christianity um, was not created by Europeans. Christianity had been on the mainland of what we call Africa for a long time. Bless you. And
exactly.
anyway,
Have you heard
European.
how the Nigerians are
I'm gonna
being
remove her.
absolute?
I'm
No, work with a
I
professor.
didn't.
Once you're done with
I
him,
just
work with him.
brought her down for a minute. I'll bring her back up. But I removed her from speakers. But shit, I lost my train of thought. But the European explorers went to Africa looking for a Christian king, an African Christian king named Prester John. You can look him up. Now, Prester John was known for giving money to anybody who was Christian to help them. Now, keep in mind what I said earlier, that the Europeans were fighting each other. The French, the Spanish, they all fighting, killing each other. They went to Prester John looking for money to help them fight the war, and Prester John had been dead 100 years by that time. But who they found was an African tribal chief liar that said he was Prester John. And this African tribal chief, to show off and ball, gave them a handful of African slaves for no other reason than to show off. Now, these particular Europeans, ladies and gentlemen, took those African slaves back to the Catholic Church as a gift. And Pope Innocence, look this shit up. I think Pope Innocence the first or maybe second. Look at Innocence 1402. Pope Innocence looked at these jet black people and had an idea. You see, Europeans were enslaving each other. A lot of people don't know that. And Europeans would have a problem with their slaves running away because the slaves, everybody looked alike in Europe. Well, Pope Innocence looked at these African enslaved people and said, they don't fit in around here. If they escape, we can immediately identify them. So in 1402, I want to say 1401 or 1402, Pope Innocence doomed to slavery ad infinitum everybody of African origin. So that dumbass African chief trying to show off and ball doomed the likeness of all African people. And that's where the focus on African people being an enslaved group came from. It came directly from the Catholic Church.
Now, is he the one that wrote the Dum Diversis or Doctrine of Discovery?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, hey, I love you guys. Come in and learn something new every time. More power to you.
Appreciate it, bro. It's getting late, ladies and gentlemen.
Professor,
Yes, sir.
brother Tariq spoke on that, which y'all was just talking about. He had a what's the name about that, and he mentioned that uh, when they started kicking the Moors out, all the priests got together and started kicking the Moors out of Europe. I mean, mainly Spain, and that's when it started right there. He had a he had a post about that. I don't know all the details, but
Yeah, I
he was.
remember
I
it.
remember he was talking about that. Exactly what y'all was saying just now.
Yeah, it may have been related. It may have been related because they all were happening at the same times. 1492 is when Christopher Columbus and his real group got kicked out of Spain. But it may have started around in there. It was a lot of discontent and anger and vitriol because those jet black Moors was having sex with a lot of the European women, and the babies being born started to look more like me. So
For 700 years. For
yeah,
700 years, right?
yeah. I don't think fuck all whites had a chance to speak. Fuck all whites, take us home. You're our last speaker. Go ahead.
Cool, cool. What's up, Professor Nikki Wani? It's always a pleasure. I had just came up specifically because I heard you guys asking about. I know I'm probably late on the subject, but I heard you guys asking about where the Queen of England and the royal family, who they descend from. Well, the answer is actually they descend from the French. It was a point in time where the French actually conquered England. William the Conqueror, to be specific, he was a Norman, and well, he was said to descend from the Vikings. But the Anglo people of England, which is the majority people of England, they are the Germanic people, the Anglos of England, and the royal family are the French. So they actually have French people ruling the majority of the English, which is pretty funny.
No,
Wani, is that correct?
not well. If you think French people are Franks,
Yeah,
which are
they're
Germans,
Germans.
No,
Yeah.
they're Normans.
I know the Queen is German though,
Okay, well, I mean, we could go with that.
because all of the monarchy is German.
Facts.
Every house is German.
And that Scottish
German
kitty lady
origin.
was seemingly avoiding that. I think you hit a nerve when you started talking about that, Wani.
Well,
She's
see, the
probably
thing is,
German
I
too.
know due to marriages and things like that, that they are all related in some type of way, because that's kind of what World War I had to do with, where all the rulers of England, France, and Germany and Russia were all related. They were all cousins. So I do know that over time, through marriage, that they did all kind of interrelate, and kind of connect to Germany. But I do know for sure that the French conquered England. William the Conqueror, he was a Norman, and that's pretty much where the bloodline of the royal family of England descend from.
Well, I think where Wani was going is the real core of all this conquerorship is coming from a Germanic lineage.
But they're still Normans are North Germanic. So that's what I'm talking about.
Now, the real question is, like we said early on in space, where those Germanic people really come from?
Mhm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed y'all. If you look in the jumbotron, you'll see Wani Spots and Nick of the Guys Cash App. Show them love for their time, dedication, and scholarship. In addition, you'll see my Cash App, Our Story Publications. If you want a copy of my book, put $25 on that Cash App, and don't forget to put your address and zip code so I can send your book. A couple of y'all purchased a book a couple weeks ago and didn't put an address, so check Cash App and just put your address in there as a message or whatnot, and I'll send them out shortly. I enjoyed y'all. I'll see y'all later. I learned so much tonight, and I enjoyed some of our encounters. Um, my take on, you're more than welcome to come back, but stop talking out of turn, ma'am. You got to work on it. Um,
Is she still there, Professor?
Just stay
I
away from the
don't
doorpost
know.
and potatoes.
I don't know if my take is ready to be, you know, civilized.
Well, that's why we keep a crate. And we could keep her in a training crate.
Yes, definitely.
We're gonna teach her, right?
Possibly.
Any last words? My
Outstanding.
take.
Have you an idea what you lot sound like?
Do you not know that you need some soul pull?
Me lot?
Get the
Do
dildo,
you
the
really?
Black
Do you
Kingdom.
really have
You're
any
so
idea what you lot
goddamn
sound like?
She's
Who
just
would not
mad because
disrespect
her
my
queen
queen?
is a
Y'all
Norman
sound like
Germanic.
some fucking
A
high
Norman Germanic French
we
like
sound
lady.
like what?
seriously.
Your peoples are French, Frank, Normannic,
No,
Germans.
sound
None of
like
them are you.
fucking higher
None
superior.
of them are you.
Oh, with your party mouth, go around to the pub and say ta ta.
Anybody want to know what it actually feels like to live in the UK?
No. All right. Y'all have a nice
All right,
night.
no,
Why would
you're
we
Yeah,
right.
want to
You
know
yeah,
right,
that?
Professor.
exactly.
Bye
You've
bye,
just
baby.
answered.
Why would we want to
No,
know
you
that?
don't give a shit, but you want to talk about what you
That
think
bait? What? Does she
it
have a
means
Delmarva
to live
Give
in
me
the
accent?
some
What kind
UK.
of shit is
Yeah,
that?
potatoes.
yeah,
She
you've
said
just
poker
answered
bait.
that.
Wani, did
Poker bait.
Wani, did you have any last words?
Well, I'm starting to learn where their Delmarva accent is coming from. Talking bait.
Boat. Any last words, Wani?
Oh, that was it. Good night.
Nikki, any last words?
Good night, everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed y'all.
Good night,
Have a safe
y'all.
night.
Have a nice
Bye
evening.
bye.